And shortly, I imagine we will have a live channel. And then I will say the thing I say. Like right now, when the channel is live, I say, hello, everybody, and welcome to Adventure on so many levels, Rime of the Frostmaiden.
A lot of people are having that real lifetime right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Statistically on point.
I thought for a second that I might do the dragon's laser breath noise instead of the wind, but you destroyed the Chardelin dragon, so
Yeah.
it would have been anachronistic. Hi everyone, I'm Christiane Ellis, the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight: David Archambault as Wilfred Cole,
Hi.
Nobilis Reed as Marcher Northwind,
Anybody got a bed?
Jason Banks as Rowan Gregor,
Center mass. It always works, right?
and Paul Weimer as Alain,
I think I'm the clerk this session.
and last but not least, Lee Burdett as Iggy.
I second the nomination for a bed.
Yeah. Sadly, we are short one Spence for this session, but Spence's character, Mara, is still around, just going to be on, DM autopilot for today. But who of those assembled here today would like to recap what happened last time?
I'll do the recap for once. I usually bow out, but I'll go for it. So, session before last, we were at Rowan's suggestion. We approached the Duergar fortress that we had been warned about, because he had a bug up his butt about how important it was that we go there, and we witnessed a dragon fly out of it. A dragon made of Chardelin, and so that we didn't end up going there. We decided that going there was not quite so important anymore, and tried to chase the dragon down. In the course of which, miraculously, the party encountered a woman who was driving a dog sled along with a couple of other dog sleds driven by kobolds, some of whom were alive and some of whom were not quite so alive. And they shuttled us to East Haven, which is one of the larger settlements, which was in the process of being destroyed by said dragon. Oh, we also sent off some sending spells to warn various people. That's important. So anyways, we chased it down there. We fought it some. Managed to prevent the complete destruction of East Haven, and then it flew off to go attack some other town. We did not have the speed to catch up to it, so we diverted to the largest town, whose name escapes me just for the moment. Brynchander.
Yep.
And decided to make our stand there. And we prepared various stratagems for attacking it.
Which worked.
No, not all of them. I mean,
I said some.
Yeah, Marcher wanted to. We had along the way we had come across a Chardelin spear, which Marcher wanted to use to try to shoot from a ballista at it, and unfortunately that missed, and we only had one shot, so we had to fight it normal ways, and in between it burning whole swaths of the city, we were able to gradually whittle it down, and then Marcher got in the killing blow with a laser rifle we took from mind flayers.
Yay!
And no one died.
And
none of the PCs,
none of us.
no PCs died.
None of the PCs died. There were also Duergar infiltrating the city here and there. We battled in between all that, and the dragon had a mind control bit that it used that was somewhat vexing to Marcher and um,
Iggy.
Iggy. Sorry, I was looking for the name and it just wouldn't come. Marcher and Iggy, but we finally took it down, and we have been hailed as the heroes of Bryn Shander, and Marcher just wants to find a place to sleep.
So the
Did I miss anything?
only just the last bit, the tangential detail related to Velene Harpel, the woman with the dog sleds.
Oh yeah, she has a mission for us.
Right, yeah. So she had been looking for you, hoping to hire you for something when it turned out that you needed to get back to the 10 towns in a hurry. So she was happy to provide you that ride without any, strings attached. However, she does still want to hire you for something.
Yes.
So, but the other thing to just state in general as we sort of fade back in on our heroes here is that the population of Bryn Shander currently is more than double usual because the city is absolutely filled to the brim with refugees. And there's actually a fair amount of people who there's some chaos still and some people hurt and that sort of thing because there was some damage done to the city in the process of fighting the dragon. But all things considered, it fared a lot better than the other towns where the dragon was able to do its thing uninterrupted. But it just means that the city currently is very sort of busy and chaotic as people are, now that the fighting is done and it's safe to be inside again, people want to be inside, but it's very full.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine even if there are some abandoned buildings, they're occupied.
Yes.
I think on that basis, Speaker Duvessa Shane, if you recall, she is a 30-something human woman with, despite her young appearance, does have like an air of confident authority to her. And she, given that you very specifically not only defeated the dragon, but also saved her life directly during the fight, is inclined to offer you a space in the town hall to rest if you need it.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
After
I
getting
don't think we need anything special in terms of privacy or anything like that. But if there is space, we definitely need a rest.
after getting a full rest, I would like to see if she would allow me to take some of the militiamen or guards to go out and try to hunt animals that we can skin and make leathers and try to start making kind of a shanty town either on the outskirts of the gates of the city to try to curb some of this influx of people.
Yeah, well, so that is definitely going to be happening kind of with or without your help, but certainly if you want to help with that, your assistance would be welcomed. But basically, pretty much everyone in the city who is, at present in a condition that allows them to help is going to be conducting the business of making sure that you don't have hundreds of people freeze to death tonight.
Yeah. Is the Northlook Inn still standing at all?
Yeah, it's in pretty good shape.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean,
So, but that said, very full already.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's full to the point where there's people like sleeping on the floor in the common room with like no not enough space for anyone else to lie down. That's how full it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the tables laid out and people sleeping on the tables.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Every surface, yes, it's going to be a difficult time.
Right. So Duvessa herself is still very much in the doing the business of administration as much as possible. Getting different reports from different people about refugees from here or there and that sort of thing, and just trying to decide and do all of that sort of organization. I think she looks like she could use some sleep herself, but is obviously still very busy. So, she does not look like she's preparing to get to bed anytime soon.
Much as I am of the opinion that it is wrong to rest when others are working. I believe we've earned a rest, so I am going to go and find the space that she has given to us and go and get some sleep.
Yeah, I mean, like, certainly Deves is not arguing. Like, you guys saved the city.
Yeah.
You get to do what you want. As I will just remember that, so Mara is still present. She's just not, going to probably speak up much because Spence isn't here.
The lady with the dogs.
Yes, she is.
what's
She
her
is Velene Harpel, and she is.
Before,
Oh, go ahead.
before going to bed, I want to tell Devessa that we would not have been able to do all this without Velene's help.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The
We
city is
never
just
caught
as
So
in debt
Velene
to
is
her.
right there. We left off last time with Velene saying, "So, I do still want to hire you. If you would rather have this conversation in the morning, I would certainly understand. But I'm interested."
In the
Yes,
morning.
please.
I think.
In the morning.
Yes.
Yes, in the morning.
Very well. I can make my own arrangements. Thanks, and we will talk in the morning.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So long rest.
Long rest.
Long rest.
All right.
All right. Long
Um,
rest.
Before going to a long rest, Wilfred would ask Iggy to show Mara what Belinda looks like, his sister, Wilfred's sister. So in the morning, a sending can be done.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll take care of that tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah. Mara, alas, does not have any more third level spell slots tonight.
That's one of the reasons why I didn't try and do it previously, because that
Yeah. No, I mean it's have to make those decisions.
So Marcher, while we're getting down to bed,
Mm-hmm.
Marcher goes over to Aule.
Yeah.
I can't help thinking about the incredible good fortune of meeting Velene on our way down that mountain.
Part of me thinks it was divine intervention. Part of me wonders why she was able to find us and why she was there at that particular time.
We'll
I may not be the
probably find
brightest
out more
person
the
in this
morning,
party, but it does bear. It is a strange thing that she should be seeking us and seek us there. Why would she know that we were even there? It is not even our normal. What's the word I'm looking for? Hunting grounds. We've never been to the south of the towns before.
Well, I mean, we also have, do not do much to hide ourselves. So someone who is tracking us, found out the last town we were at and then just tracked us would be able,
True.
especially with dogs, would be able to catch up eventually. Especially with the sled dogs that don't tire very easily.
Yes, and undead kobold minions. Yes.
Right. So that's probably how she found us. But even so, it does seem very serendipitous that she came up just when we needed her.
Very serendipitous.
And I've never been a pious man. I mean, we have our beliefs among the Goliaths, but it's not.
No, you're much more grounded to your feet.
Yes, but my ancestry, would I be welcome in the Bahamut's faith with the mark of a white dragon on me?
Bahamut is a dragon god for all dragons, not just the chromatics.
Or
I
metallic.
mean metallic.
Metallics, thank you. Not just metallics, thank you.
What kind of what would be appropriate? I mean, I
there
I
are
don't
not
want to
many.
become a
there-
paladin. I do not want to become.
they're not. I didn't expect to become a paladin. Bahamut said, "You're a paladin. You're becoming a paladin," and I
So
became a paladin.
what would be appropriate to? Um, I don't know. Recognize faith. I don't know what symbols to use.
Bahamut is a relatively, what's the word I'm looking for, off hands god. You see me pray to him, but it's more like doing the right thing and doing what he wants. It's
Right.
action more than prayer. Like working for the god and doing good.
Well, yes, that's one of the things
It's
I
a very
like.
it's a very that's the way you honor Bahamut, by action.
So I don't. Okay. Well,
Yeah, you know, you don't need a symbol to say I follow Bahamut. You don't need that.
oh,
Certainly you could have one.
that
if you
makes
want.
things simpler.
It is. Thankfully, I'm not the brightest person. If it was a complicated faith, I would not do well with liturgy
I-
and books.
You and I both together, I think.
So I've just moved
So-
you to a map to reflect that you're on the third floor of this town hall. It's basically like offices and like records up here. It's heated. There's not really like beds, but it's certainly
Well, we can lay out our bedrolls.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's it's warm enough and that sort of thing.
As it so happens, Ollie's holy symbol is a Byzantine cross, but that's not the official symbol for Bahamut by any means. It's just that's the one he has.
Yeah,
That's what he uses.
but I'm still. I will maybe I will find my own way to display that.
I've had long conversations with Mara about her god and how she interacts with it. It is different for everybody. There's no one true way, and anyone who says so is lying or trying to deceive you.
I still might come to you with suggestions and ideas and see what you think.
I'm always
I mean,
here.
we have this in common, yeah, at least. So
We're the
it's-
big ones.
and Marcher
Okay, Wilfred's
runs
not
his hand
small.
over his runs his hand over the
his
ridges on the
bumps,
top
yes.
of his head. And, yeah.
There, I know there is. I know you probably wouldn't be interested. I know there is a ritual of Bahamut to turn someone who's not dragonborn into a dragonborn.
Oh,
But
well, yeah. That
is a very
that's
real.
maybe a bit too much.
That's I would think, yeah, that's
Yes,
perhaps
well,
something far too
yeah,
far.
I mean, faith is one thing, but there's
that is for. I don't think that's for the
there's this girl
Glycines
you see, and I
Jews.
don't think she would appreciate it if I became a dragonborn. It's a
Probably
camel
not.
thing, understand?
So Ale, please make a perception check. No, insight. Excuse me, insight check.
Insight check.
Yeah. 7. Okay.
Yeah. 7.
Yeah.
I rolled a 25 mistake. 7.
Yeah,
so
I
yeah,
think
am
you
never
are. Yeah. You catch Mara giving you a little bit of a look, but you're not sure what it means exactly. But she does kind of come over to where the two of you are sitting and says, "You are talking about the Velene woman."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's well. I mean, and how lucky we were. I mean, incredibly lucky to encounter her when we did.
Well,
And that I have a hard time not interpreting that as the intervention of a god.
yes, I do not entirely disagree, and we were able to make use of her sleds, no question. And I do think we should listen to what she offers, but the zombies give me pause.
We've
Yes,
talked
that-
about your feeling about
yeah.
unnatural things.
Yes,
Things that violate
But
that.
at the same time, we owe her a great debt.
I do not disagree. Just that we should be wary.
Trust but verify.
As is everyone just basically kind of ready to
We just fought a
get some
dragon, so I
Z's?
think
Yeah.
so.
No. Hey, I'm.
Warning,
I
however.
Yeah, so I would imagine then that you are left undisturbed, for the duration of you getting a long rest. If you want to just go ahead and do that. I don't know if anyone
Yeah.
is I don't know if you're setting watches. I mean, it seems
I
like
mean,
you're
I'd
probably
say-
safe for now.
I figure there's enough people that'd be watching for danger.
Mm-hmm.
Someone would come and tell us.
Yeah. All right, so I think, so you're all able to complete a long rest without trouble then.
Yay!
Yeah. So in the morning, Mara, comes over to Wilfred and Iggy and just says, "You wanted me to send a message to your sister?"
Yes, Iggy, if you could give her the image. Muted.
We don't hear you.
Of course
Oh,
I
there-
am.
oh, yeah, there you go.
And you didn't hear me telepathically? Darn, this sight crystal really doesn't work very well for the princesses.
Sorry.
Well, even if we did, I don't think it get caught on the audio.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to be sneaky, but
Mhm.
no, really. But yeah, no problem. I will introduce, quote unquote, Mara to Wilfred's sister.
Mm-hmm. All right. So with that image in mind, what would you like me to say?
Hey. A message from Wilfred. Are you safe? Did you take refuge in the mine? I'm sorry that we could not stop it from happening. And that's it.
So you all don't hear, the actual response. So what you just have is Mara casting the spell, doing essentially your message exactly, and then, kind of, ear cocked for a little bit. Yes, she and some others from the town took refuge in the mine, but it was attacked. The kobolds apparently were able to help them fend off the attackers, but your sister was hurt. I believe she's okay. She did not imply that there was anything imminent or anything, but she just said she was injured.
Okay.
She was able to reply.
Yes, that's good. Good kobolds. Good job. Okay, well,
Those cobalt traps.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, I guess if we wind up in the area, that would be nice to check on.
So, yeah, I think as you are, there's, some signs of activity on your part. You do have a young girl in like a page's sort of. She's got a like a patch on the outside of her coat that indicates that like she's working for the speaker. So she just comes up and just says, "Excuse me, if you're awake, Speaker Shane wanted to talk to you, and also I guess there's there's a lady with an eye patch, scary eye patch downstairs too. Also,
Ah, yes, our prospective employer.
We will be down shortly.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
okay." And then so she ducks back out of the door, but then kind of comes back sort of tentatively and just says, "Thanks for fighting the dragon," and then just leaves.
Absolutely way too cute.
All right. All right. So, are you heading down, or anything else you take care of up there with you before you head down?
I think Wilfred will, I like kind of hang back with, kind of grab Ellie's arm and say,
Yeah.
can talk a little bit.
Yeah. What's on your mind?
I had a reason for coming up to Icewind Dale. It
Yes.
was a mission for my father to recover his lost signet ring that was bitten off by a knucklehead trout.
Blink.
And,
Oh, he blinks his eyes like, really?
Well,
Yeah, well, his finger and the ring were both lost.
Yes. Oh, it's not that dumb.
But
well, we do have this lucky fishing pole.
We do have a lucky fishing pole.
yeah, I was.
So
You
you're
know
looking.
which-
You're searching for this ring.
Well, that's why I was hoping for Bremen. That talk about the monster in the lake.
You
I
were,
was
you were
thinking-
expecting the monster was the same trout that what your father or that your ring's sitting
Or-
somewhere at the bottom
or-
of that lake.
Or maybe the trout was eaten by the monster.
I don't know.
Or
It's-
something. But,
But,
I mean, was that connected to those druids who were sending beasts to mess around with
I-
people?
I don't know. I mean,
Probably.
my father told me it was up here. He didn't tell me where he was when it happened because
Oh,
that would make it easy.
that's going to make things very difficult.
Yeah, I mean.
How about we talk to our dog sled lady and see what she has to tell us?
And also, we do have the moon dial mirror.
Yes, that
that might reveal where the ring is because
Yes,
otherwise
that we might be able to find out where it is
stone
that
in
way.
a lake.
Yeah, because otherwise we'll be fishing for quite a long time.
Yeah. Okay. I think I do want to ask at the Northlook. Just, I suppose can't with everything that's happened, can't really be subtle about it.
Well, you could just stick your hand down old Bitey's throat and see if you could find it.
I'm actually half tempted to do that.
I'd ask permission first, since they
Okay.
have it spelled.
Yeah.
Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. I mean, he is named Old Bitey.
Yeah.
Yes, but we also don't want you to lose any body parts. I'm not sure Mara or I could regenerate them for you.
Well, we can work on that.
But really, we do owe this woman the debt. We should see
Yeah.
her first.
Let's go.
See what she has to say.
So as you're heading down, you spot Velene is kind of seems to be patiently waiting sort of near the front entrance, but you would need to pass through sort of this war room sort of area where Speaker Shane is apparently still busy coordinating things, although she certainly has bags under her eyes by now. But as she sees you, she does just briefly, grab your attention and just say, I hope you rested well, and as Bryn Shander is absolutely in your debt, I would not wish to prevail upon you for more unless you are looking for ways to help. But we have a lot of refugees here in town now. We need a lot of help, and in particular, you. I'm sorry, I didn't get all of your names, but you, and gestures to you, Marcher.
Really? Marcia looks surprised.
Well,
Yes.
what I was wondering is that we have, in the past, had some good relations with the Goliaths up in Sky
Oh.
Tower Shelter and Wormdoom Crag, but lately they haven't been sending anyone, and I don't know if if we had someone to just go up there and tell them that we need help, they can send whatever they feel like they can spare, and we wouldn't ask for more than that, but
I can
at least let
certainly
them
do
know we could use some assistance. I mean, we have a lot of hungry people. We have a lot of people in that we're struggling to get shelter for. So, like, anything that they can provide would be very useful.
I will make that a top priority for us. You are absolutely right, and I wish I had thought of it myself.
Thank you. You've already done so much for us. I just
No, you were right to ask me. It did not occur to me, and I am ashamed for it.
well, no
I
need
will-
for
I
that.
will
but
be speaking with them as soon as I can.
Wonderful. Thank you. And if you happen to run into any of the ragged nomads out there, I know some of them do just fine for themselves out in there in the tundra. So I'm not sure if any of them would be interested in helping either. But I'm just
can't
trying to
hurt to
make
ask.
sure exactly we're not leaving anything on the table just because we didn't ask anyone.
And we can also, and given we can also ask the dwarves.
Yes, well, we definitely have people who are able to speak with them already. That's
All
my the
Yeah.
reason I was able to. So you're not wrong. I'm just saying we have people who know them well and can speak with them. I don't have any other Goliaths.
I take your meaning entirely. We will make that journey.
Wonderful. And I guess. If there's anything else we can do for you, let me know. But obviously, we're busy here dealing with a lot of newly homeless people. So I'm not telling you to get out of my way at all. I'm just saying.
I could use a few items in the course of our adventure there. I lost my pack, my backpack. And, I'm not asking for a replacement. I can make one, but I need a few materials: a hide, some sinew, a needle.
Right. Well, so my understanding is that the dwarves that run Black Iron Blades are making a lot of their inventory available to people who need it. But
Okay,
there,
we'll stop there.
yes, I think that they should certainly have some if they still have anything in stock. And if they even try to charge you for anything, just tell them that it's on me.
Well, there are plenty of other people who need things as well. I am capable of making something that will be serviceable with just a few items. So, well, we'll see what happens.
Another thing I'd like to mention is that Marcher, that spear, you said you missed the dragon with it?
I missed. Yeah. I did not have a great deal of time to practice with that thing, and it is not easy to aim. I did my magical targeting, but it missed. So,
Yes. My thoughts, maybe we should offer some money to people who find it.
Find
So
it?
if
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah. I probably not something that we would pay, but how about we leave some money behind to
The town speaker.
speaker.
Yeah, that way.
Say, give this
So
to some.
she says we've already tried to brief all the militia when they come in for shifts and try to spread the word that if people see pieces of the dragon or any of that black crystal that they should leave it alone and not touch it. We've been trying to gather it together where we can. So I think we've already trying to get the word out about that. But if I mean, we're not going to turn down any donations at this point. If these were different circumstances, I would say that you don't need to pay us anything, but we really can use it.
Right.
Well, I'm not sure how much the rest of you have, but Wilfred doesn't have a huge amount of money to give.
We'll talk about it and check in with you later before we leave. How about that?
She kind of nods and then sort of turns back to this meeting table where there's like 6 people waiting to have her attention, and she's just like, all right, yeah. So I'll be here.
You need to get some rest too.
Yes.
You can't make good decisions if you're not well rested.
Well, you're not wrong. I'll take that under advisement.
All right, we have some business to do with the dog sled lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go find her.
All right, great. My Roll20 is giving me a message that says my internet has been interrupted, and I don't know.
Yeah, I got the same message.
Yeah, I'm not having any kind of a problem with it though, so I just wish that I could make the message go away. Anyway, that's fine. So, Velene Harpel, she, let's see. Mara has left half of her gold. Apparently, I'm getting messages. All right, yeah. So that's she leaves a few gold. That's good. All right. So the Velene Harpel is waiting for you. She is being relatively patient, but it's patient in the way that an old lady is patient when she knows that being impatient doesn't help. So you might as well just wait. So, but it's she's waiting on you, and she doesn't have to say anything for you to know that sort of thing.
Yeah, I figure we're going right to her.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that look.
I think we all know that look.
All right. So, yeah. So once again, we've got this this lady where now that she's not out in the cold, you can definitely see she's got the eye patch, white hair. She's got the snowy owl that is just that's perched on her shoulder. Well behaved to the point where you suspect that it might be a magical familiar and not a natural owl. But she doesn't have any of the kobolds with her at present, but she is just saying, I don't suppose you had a room upstairs where we could have some privacy?
Privacy is difficult to come by in this environment.
It is, but that's all the more reason that if you had a space already up there, I would prefer that. We can make do wherever we need to be, but I think some of what I have to say is sensitive.
Well, I think if nobody's filled in that spot, might as well. We'd probably be okay to use it for now.
Yeah.
Well, most of our gear is up there still, so I don't think they've
vacated. Yeah.
Yeah, we can check the rooms and see if there's any that have been vacated.
Yeah, so there at the very least, there's one that you can make use of. Although, as you guys left behind where you were, you can see that they are now actually have some people doing converting, to maybe make those available for other people, but they weren't going to do that when it would have disturbed you. But nonetheless, you're able to find a room where you can speak with her a bit. So she follows you up there, and as has you all there, and so it's just kind of a. She looks you over and just says, "So, you're probably thinking it is an odd happenstance that I should come across you in the wilderness, but as mentioned, I was looking for you with the specific intent to hire you. And I do have some magical tools available at my disposal. I come from the Arcane Brotherhood." And she pauses to let that sink in, and anyone can make. I'm gonna. Let's just say whoever has history as proficiency can make a history check.
Let's see. What do I get?
Archer looks around in a little at his companions to see what they say.
I get it. I got a dirty 20.
Rowan,
Always
Rowan,
close.
Rowan just gives you a slight nod.
Okay. So Wilfred got a dirty 20. Did anyone else
Yep.
get?
I don't think anybody else has history.
Oh, okay. Well, so what you know with the dirty 20, Wilfred, is that the Arcane Brotherhood is kind of a cabal of powerful wizards that operate out of this tower in Luskan, which is to the south, called the Host Tower of the Arcane. There's 5 renowned archmages who pick, select who else can join the Arcane Brotherhood, and they are just essentially like they do intense magical research. They are sometimes known by people outside the Arcane Brotherhood as being amoral, knowledge-hungry, that sort of thing. But they are nonetheless tend to be at the forefront of magical research, whatever the subject. And so it's very competitive to try to be part of the Arcane Brotherhood. So that's kind of what you would know about them in general. Actually, I take it back. The one other thing that you would know about it is that here in Icewind Dale, there was a bit of a thing about a couple, I think it was 20 years back, where someone from the Arcane Brotherhood came to Icewind Dale and kind of got it in his head to try to take it over with the evil scheme, and it didn't work out for him, but he was actually taken alive. And there's this and so there is actually a prison in Icewind Dale called Revel's End that is literally designed to be a prison for powerful magic users. And so this guy, Valish Gant, is currently a prisoner in Revel's End. And he was from the Arcane Brotherhood, although, the important thing to remember is the Arcane Brotherhood is not a monolith, right? It consists of a lot of very powerful mages who all want their own stuff.
Yeah. So when she says Arcane Brotherhood, Wilfred's eyes go wide.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Well, I've heard a lot about you guys. I've kind of.
So, for those of you who are not as informed as your colleague, the Arcane Brotherhood is a collective of powerful mages that perform magical research all over the world. And I am here because let me shift back up to my other window. I need your help to find an ancient city buried under the ice. This city, Ithrin, is a lost fragment of the Empire of Netheril, whose wizards created many of the magical items we find scattered across the world today. It holds magic beyond our wildest dreams. We might even find something there to end this hateful winter. Intrigued?
I'm gonna put a hand. I'm putting a hand on Wilfred because I could see him ready to jump and bounce. It's
Yeah.
like calming hand on Wilfred.
Yeah. What I will also say, though, is that all of you probably noticed that Mara had been kind of standing back a little warily, like arms folded, leaning against the wall, watching this woman carefully. But then at this mention of an ancient city buried under the ice, seems to react to that and just like that has her interest in a specific way, but she doesn't say anything.
Magic secrets. Powerful magic.
Mhm.
I'm definitely interested.
Yes.
This
Well,
doesn't seem like. Well, why would you want to share this information with us? I mean, if this is such a valuable find, wouldn't you and the Brotherhood want to find it, not just a group of adventurers?
she has
Oh,
kind of
she's-
a rise.
she's
Yeah.
She's asking us to guide her to it.
Yeah.
To find it and tell her where it is. It makes sense.
Your muscle.
Yeah, she gives kind of a wry smile and just says, that's a very good question, and I do have an answer for you, but I want to just say the fact that you thought to ask that means that you are not fools, which I appreciate. So, a little bit more general backstory here. Using divination magic, the Arcane Brotherhood has learned that the city is buried deep inside Ragged Glacier. But the glacier can be cracked open at a place where a waterfall once flowed down its side, but has since frozen. We have already found the waterfall. What we need is the magic to break open the glacier. Now,
Well,
that's the more general. Oh, well, go ahead. I have more, but please go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we ran across a device that would make breaking open a glacier a little easier. That
Well, we used it.
You're
and we don't
speaking
know how
of the contraption by the teddy bear gnome and his friend.
yes,
made
copper
that,
and
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, I am familiar with Copper and that device. In fact, it was him and the half-elf with him that recommended I speak with you.
Oh,
Ah.
Oh,
You wouldn't-
excellent.
happen to know if they were if they might have gotten somewhere safe. Last we heard they were in Targos.
Last I heard they were in Targos. Bear in mind that I left them there in Targos and came to find you, at which point the dragon has attacked, and I have been with you since.
Well,
Okay.
figure
We can-
it out.
Yeah, we can send a sending to see how they are later.
Okay,
But
so
in any event, the device that you speak of was fascinating to me, and the reason that I sought them out is because it is modeled after something called a mythalar, which is, in fact, a sort of arcane core that we believe is, in fact, the artifact that allowed this ancient flying city to fly. And so the device made by Copper and his companion Macretus was a dramatically scaled down version. But I believe if we can locate the city, that the original would still be there. And if you could warm up a small region with the little one, imagine what we could do with the full size.
yes,
Yeah.
but
Hey.
the
Oh, kind of.
the
Right.
the Frostmaiden didn't like us using that one and sent minions to kill us. So I can't imagine the scale of her retort if we crack open a glacier to pull out one of an immense, more powerful size.
well, I mean, it's not like we're turning the warm, right?
Well,
I mean,
let me put it.
It's a little less direct in the opposition.
I will also say that I have little doubt that we might attract her ire, but this is why I am not asking common people on the street corner.
That is true. We did dispatch many intent to kill us.
And we are in your debt, so I think that we have no choice but to
Well,
say that we will do what you need.
I certainly hope that we can have a mutually beneficial relationship in this exploration. I have no doubt that there will be a great many treasures to be found along the way, and I have no particular need to keep any of those. I have my eye on the big prize, so to speak. There are a few things that I would be interested in for myself, but certainly anything that we find along the way other than those, you would be entitled to keep.
Okay, so would, in the grander scheme of things, especially if this does gain the ire of the Frostmaiden, would the Brotherhood be willing to assist us in our campaign against her?
That's complicated. Let me answer that in a couple of parts. One is that Netheril, when the Empire was at its height, vast human empire whose mastery of the weave remains unsurpassed to this day. And some of what they accomplished was magic more powerful even than the legendary wish spell. They could accomplish the impossible, flying cities, shearing the tops off of mountains. I suspect that the magical artifacts we may find there would be powerful enough, perhaps, even to defy a goddess. That is, in fact, what the Netherese Empire sought to do in the first place.
Which goddess did they intend to defy? And what happened?
Well, there was a whole thing about one of the leaders of the Netherese Empire trying to supplant the goddess of magic. That didn't turn out very well for him, and the Empire did, after all, fall. But that doesn't mean that their artifact isn't still there. And let me also say this about Auril. The Frostmaiden, a goddess she may be, and we should not underestimate that. But a goddess that chooses to reside on the material plane amongst mortals. There's something there. I suspect that the everlasting rime that she has cursed this land with actually takes up quite a bit of her full power.
I mean, there was that night in Lonelywood where she was able to conjure a blizzard, but it didn't seem to have the maintaining power that you would expect from, well, godly power.
Yes. Well, overall, my point regarding the Frostmaiden is that, yes, I expect some of what we may do may anger her, and I intend to defy her regardless. Have I come to the right people?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Good. The following question of why does the Arcane Brotherhood not help? Well, in one sense, here I am. In another, we don't all get along. I came here as part of an expedition with 2 other members of the Arcane Brotherhood, and we were here together to find Ithrin. And as it happened, an upstart, who is not officially part of the Arcane Brotherhood, but someone seeking to make a name for themselves, joined our expedition by catching up with us at one point. And that young upstart, by the name of Nas Lantamir, stole Professor Scant from me and killed 2 of my kobolds, and they have absconded with stuff that is mine and is necessary for our mission. I am pretty angry. And the rest of our expedition broke up shortly after that, just out of... I will not pretend they were anything other than petty disagreements, but there you have it. So...
Would one of members of your expedition happen to be a tiefling?
Ah, yes. Avarice. Have you met her?
Yes, we had a
Yes.
brief run-in.
Last I had heard, she had taken up residence with some devilish cultists.
Well,
Yes,
Well, they're
We-
dead now.
we met her after we finished destroying those cults.
Oh, my guess is that the cultists in that castle were not the extent of their true numbers, but, well done you.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
assume
Little
Avarice
odd.
escaped, nonetheless, or else you would have said so.
Well,
Oh,
yes.
we at
Yes.
first thought she might have been prisoner, but giving her look and giving an estimate of her confidence and ability, I don't think that was the case.
Yes, I assure you she is quite dangerous and very competent.
I'm sure if we tried to kill her, it would not have gone well for us.
In any case,
Manners.
that's all beside the point, is it
Yes.
not?
Yes.
Yes, so the other of our number, other than Nas Lantamir, as I mentioned, was a red wizard by the name of Zan, who I understand got himself burned at the stake in East Haven.
Oh, yes.
Maybe.
Oh yes, that
Oh.
one.
Mhm.
We heard about
Ah,
him leading a bunch of adventurers off and betraying them, and
Yes.
paying
I don't
for
suppose
his
you
life.
know what he found, where he found it.
I think we. Well-
Supposedly there was a tower, maybe?
Yes, well, I had heard some bits and pieces of that, but I hadn't had a location as of yet.
Yeah.
Here's what I need. I need Professor Scant back. And to be clear, this is not a person, it is a thing known as a Professor Orb. It is a sentient object. It floats like a crystal, but it is an expert on the Netherese Empire, and it speaks the ancient language of the Netherese. This is critical that we obtain Professor Scant back. But, unfortunately, as mentioned, stolen by Nas Lantamir, and I don't know where they are.
You know, guys, I'm not saying this will be true, but if I was going to steal a very expensive item, there's one town that I would go to if I needed to get rid of it or blend in.
Targos?
Targos.
Yes, Targus.
Well, as I mentioned, that's where I was. So I'm not saying that you might not have luck where I did not, but I did think along those same lines. Unfortunately, my understanding is that much of it is burned to the ground at present, and those who were there are now here looking for shelter.
Yeah. Good news about that. Maybe we can go get that cauldron now.
It
Yes,
might
that's
be in the ruins.
I can't believe that anybody leaving wouldn't bring it with them.
It might be here, yeah.
It might be here. But here, I think that we don't need to worry about that. It's going to end up feeding people, and no matter what happens. We are not particularly good at being detectives.
I understand. I have some leads. Let me just finish. One other item that we need is known as the Codicil of White. It's a book, and it contains the magic that will allow us to break open the glacier. I don't know where it is, but I think that the reason that Nas dared attack my kobolds and steal Professor Scant is because she knows. And I think I know who she would have found out from.
Okay.
Have you all heard of Velene Gant?
As a player, it's not ringing a bell.
Well, Velene Gant is
Yeah.
the person that I just mentioned that was the person who tried
Yeah.
to take over 10 towns like 20 years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
Now in
okay.
Revel's End, yeah.
So,
And
actually,
so-
yeah. So Wilfred
yeah.
would have
So
known.
what she says is he was a former member of the Arcane Brotherhood who was not executed so as to not anger the Arcane Brotherhood, but nonetheless is living out his days in an anti-magic cell up in Revel's End. But he still knows things, and I suspect that Nas Lantamir found a way to speak with him, and perhaps he knows where the Codicil of White is.
Well, we also have another way of finding out where that is, potentially.
True.
Yeah.
There's
Yes.
a particular mirror in a hidden temple
Hmm?
up near, well, up near where Lonelywood once stood, and it can answer questions.
Indeed.
Been told.
And we're building up quite a list.
Quite a list of questions.
Yeah, a lot of it. A big one.
Mhm.
And with Mara's assistance, I don't think we need to worry about the phases of the moon.
Nope.
True.
Well, good. So, as mentioned, what I need is the Codicil of White. We need to find out where it is. And I need Professor Scant back. And I believe Nas Lantamir has it, but rather than simply find Nas, I feel like we need to follow in their footsteps. They would be trying to achieve the same thing we are. And so if we can follow the same trail, I suspect we will catch up with them.
And
All right.
this Nas Lantamir, was a description of them given?
Young woman, human.
Okay. So, human, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I suspect that there may also be leads available at whatever this tower is that Dazan found in the tundra. If he found some relic of Yithrin, I would absolutely wish to see it. So if you have any idea where that is, I would also wish to go there. But
Hey,
as
we-
mentioned, this is my task, and I have discovered that trying to accomplish these things on my own, even with my able kobold assistants, I've not had as much luck as I would have liked.
yeah, you're. We noticed something about some of your kobolds.
Yes.
Uh,
hmm Well spotted. They are undead. Is that a problem?
Well,
It actually might be useful.
well, we do have to wonder. There's always, when dealing with undead, there's always the risk of them becoming problems. I would.
I
hope
can
that-
assure you that that is fully within my control. This is my specialty.
Oh. Okay.
Hold on.
It's funny that you didn't have that problem when we were talking to the mummy.
No, that was Rowan. That was Rowan's thing.
That's
Uh,
Rowan's.
Rowan-
not Bush's.
Rowan is the one who wants to put the mummy in the trench coat.
Absolutely.
A mummy?
Oh yeah, ancient
we'll-
elven mummy.
I'll introduce you later.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll have to make sure he doesn't try and kill you.
Yes.
Apparently,
our
he's
first
very
move
good
to
at
go
hitting
t-
things.
I think our next destination should definitely be the Druid Grove.
Yeah. Although there's some things I want to get here in the city before we leave.
So I think Velene does glance over to Mara, who just says, "And so, how about you? Are the undead a problem?" And Mara just kind of, I think, folds her arms and says, "Just keep them away from me." I can do that. They are very well behaved.
Well, we've already been riding around with you for hours, so if there was a problem
Yes.
before, we would have already found out.
Yes, although sometimes expediency leads to decisions that are not the same as those you would make when you have time to think about it.
Well, here we are.
Yes.
And let me also be clear. Yes, I am a necromancer. I understand some people don't like that. But if I had to make the choice right now between getting rid of the zombies and your assistance, I know which I choose. I can always make more zombies.
I think that they may actually come in handy because there are protections around the Druid's Grove that keep humanoids out, keep mortals out. But your zombies will not be so deceived.
Well,
So it may actually be may helpful to have them driving your sleds.
Sleds. Yeah. Good point.
well, I find them tremendously useful myself. So, if we have an accord, then you
Yes.
think
Yes.
errands to run and then to near Lonelywood, you said?
Yes. Lonelywood Forest.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm ready to go when you are.
Okay.
So
Wilfred's first Wilfred's first destination would be Northlook
Mm-hmm.
to maybe tussle with a magical trout.
Very nice. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, you head up to the North Look, and
by the way, I'm not seeing your map. I'm
Yeah.
seeing the,
oh, okay. I didn't pull you back over from the town hall. Sorry,
Yeah.
but it's fine. It's just like, I mean, I wasn't really doing anything other than just
yeah.
But yes. So you, where's my old bitey handout? There we
And
go.
along the way there, Marcher is going to pick up a backpack or else some materials to make one from.
Okay.
I figure that's
Yeah, I think that there are, like, when you reach, if you stop in at Black Iron Blades, you see that a lot of their inventory does appear to be gone, and they're kind of busy, but they see you, and they just rush over. It's like, the Seekers! Well, you had a discount before. I think we'll up that discount to 100%. What can I do for you?
I just need something to stitch a crude backpack out of, some sinew and some hide would be fine. I don't need anything that would be better used by someone with less need.
Okay, well, I've got a nice backpack. Do you want that, or...
Take the backpack.
Yeah, just
all
the
right,
backpack.
all right, I'll take it. So take the backpack.
He hands over a nice backpack.
I am in the
Marcia
market
puts it
for
on.
some
It looks
thrown
like one of
weapons.
those tiny little backpacks that
Yeah.
goth girls wear on his back.
Takes a little bit to adjust the straps so that they're long enough.
This will do.
All right. Does
All right.
anyone else need anything from Black Iron Blades?
Yes.
Okay.
I need some thrown weapons, probably javelins, unless you can suggest something better. I find that my crossbow is not my most effective way to hurt people.
Well, I have javelins.
If you have something that you might suggest instead, I will take that. Otherwise, I'll take the javelins.
I mean, I don't know. How are you with the longbow?
I want to leverage my strength in order to hit things from afar.
Well, I think a javelin's the way to go. Then, I mean, you could get yourself like a hand axe or a light hammer. Those you could throw too, but javelins is kind of like, they're a
Then
little
I'll take
cheaper if you
javelins.
don't get it back.
And I'll take some javelins.
All right. He has 4 javelins for you.
I'll take 4 javelins.
All right.
Maybe I'll actually hit something for a change.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, not that I can think of, because I know that a longbow is about the best I'm going to get. So
Well, a longbow is pretty good if you have it, but that's not a strength weapon, right? It's if Ale wants to use
Yeah.
strength rather than dex, the javelin is probably the way to go. All right. So heading up to the north look, and Wilfred has finally got a bit more boldness to him, headed towards Old Bitey. The
Well,
place is
first I'm
very,
gonna
yeah, go ahead.
talk to the keeper and say, would you mind if I try and do a manual inspection of Old Bitey?
So, I mean, what do you mean?
Well,
He wants to stick his hand down its throat.
Okay, well, I mean, that's up to you, I guess.
Yeah. We've got clerics standing by, and a paladin,
Yeah.
and an Asimar.
So, I mean, I guess it's not something I generally recommend, but you have my permission for what that's worth.
okay.
He's looking for something that potentially Obadi might have eaten.
All right.
If in the preservation it wasn't dug out.
Now, I think the fish. I mean, Rowan and I can probably tell this fish has been taxidermied, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a fish on the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
It has definitely been
Trophy.
taxidermied. Yeah.
So if there was anything inside it, it was cut out a long time ago.
No,
That being said, Marcher's just standing there with his hands over his chest.
Hey,
I look at the innkeeper and I go, how many? So has Old Bitey taken anyone's digits since being mounted?
I mean, like all the
I
way
don't
off.
think anybody was poking their fingers.
I
in
mean,
the
it's
wall.
bitten plenty of people. I don't recall specifically if anyone actually lost a finger.
basically,
I mean,
I'm
it's
looking
real-
for a lost ring.
Oh,
Not necessarily the finger it was on, but the ring
Okay.
itself.
all right. Well, I mean, if there's a ring in there, I'm not aware of it. But you have my permission to stick your hand in his mouth if that's what you want to do.
Okay. Wilfred's gonna go. Go for it.
Wilford, what did this signet ring look like, perchance?
Um,
A
Yeah, never
signet
actually-
ring.
Aye.
It's a ring with a signet.
it's
We did
Silver.
We did meet someone with an interesting ring at one point.
not the
Yeah.
same ring. That was looked a lot different.
Mhm.
You're talking the innkeeper's ring in Tourmaline.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just making sure before you decide to go risking your digits.
Oh, I would have inquired further if that was the same one. But anyway, so should I roll something?
Well, so I think what we're going to do here is you're going to roll a sleight of hand, and I'm going to roll a bite attack.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Rowan leans against the wall with
Oh, I got a 21.
I got a 14 with the bite attack. So does that hit you?
Nope.
All right. Well, you are able to zip your hand in and out before it's able to sort of chomp down on you. You get a handful of sawdust.
Wah, wah.
We could also ask that you know what, Wilford, before you try.
I figured it's
Well-
right here.
I mean,
We might as well look.
now you know.
So
You were never going to find anything.
At this point, the fish kind of does turn its head again, and there's a place I like to go, farther up the river's flow. Where it is, I do not know. Must be under all that snow.
and since I'm probably within reach, I'll just pat its head and then turn and walk away.
It's gonna try to bite you again.
Okay.
Oh, Wilfred.
Let's see. That's a.
The fish is going to crit.
Crit fish.
Don't.
If it happens, I
No,
honestly
it gets an 8, no problem. Although I think Velene is there with you, and as soon as it finishes its little song, and she goes, "Well, it's talking about the city, right?"
The what?
Huh?
What?
What city? Oh,
Oh,
the
the
The city.
Mithril.
Wink, wink.
It's buried beneath the glacier. We're going to break the glacier open at a waterfall.
Wait.
It's entirely possible.
So I look at
What?
I actually look at the innkeep and go, who enchanted it with that to sing that song? Or what is, or did you make it sing that song?
I didn't. I mean, some prankster wizard did that to the fish years ago. I have no idea.
I bet I know who.
I think I know who too.
Huh.
Oh,
Right.
Okay, that's good to know.
a clue
You-
in plain sight all this time.
Yeah.
Well, Velene is like, well, to be fair, I mean, it only made sense because we already know where the city is.
Yeah. Okay.
That does seem like the sort of thing some in the Arcane Brotherhood like to do. Like, they like to think of themselves as extremely clever.
Well, you have to admit, it's kind of clever.
The
All right.
Lonely Woodman?
Okay, so anything else here in Brinchander, or?
No.
All right.
Lonely Wood. We go.
Nope.
Okay.
Lonelywood. Away.
All right. Well, so now you have the benefit of dog sleds.
Yes.
So on the roads, you are able to make 3 miles per hour with the dog sleds, and so assuming that you are going to take the road up through to where Targos is, you would be get about an hour to there, and then another couple of hours to Tourmaline. So like you could make it to Lonelywood. I don't have this other thing handy. So about an hour to Targos, 3.5 to Tourmaline, and then one more to Lonelywood.
Can we in Tourmaline, stop and see if could find find my sister, find Belinda? Just real quick run up to the mine.
I mean, like Velene is just kind of saying, like, we are a team now. You don't need to ask my permission.
Okay, so gonna go either the mine or any other. Or
As long as we
where-
are not delayed with too many errands that distract from our true objective. If you have family in Tourmaline that needs to be checked on, I have no objection.
So gonna go either mine or whatever temporary place people are might be going. Aye.
Well, first, let's get, like, you're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. So, first, you would be passing by Targos, for example, and I'm thinking, like, don't you want to know what you see there when you go there?
Yeah.
In my brain, I skipped ahead.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm just saying, that's why I'm pulling this back. So as you head up to Targos and you're approaching it, because it's just outside the city walls that the road branches. But basically, as you are reaching up there, the city is an utter ruin. Like, the walls themselves are not too damaged because, of course, like, the dragon doesn't care about the walls. Like, they're unrelated. But you can see, like, there's still smoke trailing up from inside. As far as you can tell, that, like, there's a few people here and there who have set up like temporary shelters, but it looks like the city is just basically totally ruined. You know that there were hundreds and hundreds of people that fled Targos into Bryn Shander. All right.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah. So, proceeding on to Tourmaline, or are you going to look into Targos a little more?
I don't think there's much that we can do here.
Not yet, at
Okay.
least.
Yeah.
All right. So heading up to Tourmaline, another couple of hours up there, and as you're heading into town, you discover that for the most part, all the buildings there are, if not completely destroyed, then at least significantly damaged. Although you do see a trail of smoke rising up from. Let me just pull up the east side map. Although the Tourmaline map, but you know it doesn't like reflect the damage or anything. But
Right.
what you do see coming into town is that almost all the structures are, just destroyed. But you see a trail of smoke coming from what looks like just the actual chimney at the east side, and which was the inn there. And you discover that, it is one of the few buildings that is, while it's damaged, it was not completely unusable. And you do remember that a good part of it was actually underground. So like there's some fire damage on the outside, but it looks like it's in operation enough that there's people in there.
Okay.
Right.
Do you stop
mean-
there, or are you heading straight to the mines?
Yeah, stop there, see if Belinda's there. If
Okay.
not,
Yeah, so
Ask around for her.
sure. You hang on. Just open that back up. What you find in there is that there's I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get the NPC names there. So the east side was owned by Marta Peskrik, and the one who had, and her bedridden father Clyde were the ones that run that. And you can see that somewhat like the North Look was in Bryn Shander, this place is like, it's kind of like packed to the gills with people just trying to be inside out of the cold, because there's really not much left in the city. But they see you, and so Marta comes over and just says, is the danger past? We saw there hasn't been any more sign of the dragon.
The dragon is
the
destroyed.
dragon is destroyed.
Yes, we slew the dragon in Bryn Shander.
We're sorry we couldn't stop it here.
Yes, well,
My sister runs the I ran the mine up here, and I was just wondering if she was here or if
I think she might still be up there. I know that there are several, a lot of people did go and hide themselves in the mines just to be out of the city when we saw that it seems to be heading our way. But I think the mines were attacked by,
yes,
yes.
the
Probably Duragar.
Duragar from the pit and
Oh, hang
The
on.
pit in
We've
the
got
mine.
is this a Spence who's joining us after all?
Yeah, I just finished, so
Oh,
I figured
yay.
I'd at least join with voice, so you wouldn't have to do all of it yourself.
Yeah, that's great. So let me.
Oh, don't worry, I don't have video, so.
Okay, that's all right. I just have to, with you in the call, I still have to move.
Oh, sorry,
everyone over.
I thought that wouldn't mess it up.
No. It's fine. It's fine though. So just let me.
it's worth it.
Yay. But
Yeah.
we're glad
No,
you're
we are
here.
exactly. We are very glad to have you
Yes.
here. Welcome back.
Sorry to anyone who missed
Oh
me.
no!
But the
miss
accent
you.
was amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, I did.
So what she says is that a number of people did hide in the mines, but I believe that there was an attack, and my understanding is that they repelled the attackers, but there was some injuries, but I think that there's a number of people still staying there because it's out of the weather, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hope everything goes well. I'm going to head
Is
to
it
mine.
is
What?
it better in Bryn Shander? Where there's
No.
It is very crowded in Bryn Shander. You're it, the the inn in Bryn Shander looks a lot like this with how many people there are.
Everywhere looks a lot like this in Bryn Shander.
Yes.
You're honestly better off staying here and rebuilding.
I would say if any of the ships on the lake are intact.
the docks are pretty ruined, but I think she says that a few people had their boats out on the lake, and the dragon sank some of them, but not all. So there's a few.
Yeah, I would say try to see, seeing as I know this population's not as large as Bryn Shander, so maybe you can take shelter on the ships, or maybe even at the mines in some of the newer tunnels that they've dug out.
Yeah, the ships are not that big. They're all like rowboats, fishing boats. There's not really.
Yeah.
But
Figure as much.
but not only that, but they have people using them in shifts to try to get food.
Yeah.
But she's, glad that you're okay and that the dragon was dealt with. She does ask, who sent the dragon? What was happening? Where did it come from?
Well, the Duergar that attacked the mine were likely the same group that sent the dragon.
Will they come back?
I don't think so.
Well,
With the dragon not being not a dragon destroyed, and hopefully them suffering enough losses,
I don't think they're going to come back in force, but I think that they still need to be vigilant.
Yes. Watch out for footprints that have no source.
Yes, well, I think a number of us learned that lesson.
Yes, I imagine so. Anyway.
So, and so this was the woman who had the other ring that she wears around her neck. But yeah, so actually, I think she does kind of, as she's looking at you all and just kind of gets a little thoughtful expression, and then she does take it off around her neck and just says, this ring, I told you about this ring when you stayed here before. It's special. It's magic. It can protect against the cold. I believe that you can make sure it gets to someone who needs it more than I do.
Okay. Well, take in. Put it in a pocket. Well, we will make sure it gets used for good.
She nods. And so this is, in fact, a ring of warmth, which gives resistance to cold damage, and in addition, you and everything you wear and carry are unharmed by temperatures as low as -50.
Nice.
Handy.
Okay. So,
Does require attunement.
yeah.
All right. But
Well,
she
figure out where how that's going to happen later.
all right. So you headed off to the mines then?
Yep.
Gotta find his sister.
Yeah. So you find that the mines clearly have the signs of like there's a little bit of chaos around the outside of the mine because it's obvious that there was some kind of a barricade that was torn apart, and there's a few places that you see mounds of snow that you suspect might have dead bodies under them. But as you know, at the same time, there's been sort of like like the mine opening has sort of a like a door that's been built up, but it's not barricaded in quite the same way. But as you approach, you hear someone calling out, through the slit. It's just like, "Watch where you step! Who goes there?"
We're the Seekers.
Oh, hey, I remember you guys.
Oh, I love these guys.
I don't recognize the voice, or I don't recognize the voice specifically, but I recognize the size of the person.
Like, and then you hear like muttering other voices. It's like, "Ha ha! It doesn't recognize your voice." "Oh, like he recognized your voice? Well, come on. They meet a lot of people. They're not going to recognize everybody's voices."
Yeah. But we remember Bravik, Snoddick, and Trud.
Without
Yes.
doubt.
So, in any event, you are let in, and what you see actually as you are guided in through that opening is that there are, in fact, a number of Cobalt Traps set up. But rather than, like, there's no fancy formal way to disable them. So as you're let in, what you basically see is you see, like, kobolds, like, holding stuff, like, back. Like I'm holding it so it won't swing on you and that sort of thing. And they're just, like, literally blocking them with their bodies. And then there's one who's laying down, and you realize that he's like covering a tripwire, and he's just like, just step over,
Such
Okay.
Rube Goldberg.
I'm
very careful.
very,
That is
You all are
extremely
so
clever.
very curious and courteous.
I'm actually really proud that you guys set these up to protect the mine.
Well, it's like, you never know. And it turned out that we didn't know, but then, well, I mean, like, I guess
You were well
we
prepared.
did. We knew someone might come. We didn't know who it would, but they did, and most of them didn't get in.
How many of them were sent screaming down back into the Underdark by your traps?
4.
Good.
Awesome. Good job.
Such a specific.
Yeah, so basically you are led in, and sure enough, in some of the upper caves, there are, in fact, a number of people who have been, like, they've got their own sort of version of the bunks, and people sort of huddled together and everything. And then sure enough, you do hear Belinda calling out, "Wilfred!"
Linda.
You head over there, and you see that she is kind of she's sitting down in a bedroll, but she's sitting up, and you see that she's got her arm in a sling, and she's got kind of a nasty gash on her forehead, but it's bandaged. Like, you can see that it's like probably hurts, but it's been treated. Like, she doesn't look like she's in imminent danger, but
Yeah.
injured.
Ooh.
But it is the kind of thing that a cure wound spell might help.
Good,
Hint,
yeah.
hint.
Yeah. Is it bad? Do you need?
Oh, well, I mean, I can't be anything but grateful given how bad off so many people are. But I mean, I'll be okay. It's fine.
It is no problem. I heal these people all the time.
She does.
As do I.
This is- This is Mara, the one who contacted you.
Hello.
I don't know how many you have, but like, I mean, I think we have a couple of people more hurt than me. I thank you, but I'm just, there's just so many people hurt, Wilfred.
Well, are there anybody in critical condition? My ally here can do something, can dole out some healing very specifically to keep them.
There's a couple of people that have some wounds that look like they might be starting to get infected, and so she says, help them before you help me.
Okay,
Okay.
no problem.
Okay. So, I will heal 5 hit points on 7 people.
Great.
That'll be all 35 of my Land
Yeah.
hands full.
So
I can
there-
donate. I can donate 6, 7. I think it's 7.
7, yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Um,
so you're making a lot of difference for the people here, and
Are we sleeping here tonight?
We are moving on to Lonelywood.
Tonight?
Likely the temple.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's
Yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
far away, and we should be able to get some rest at the temple.
Okay. Because if that is the case, I can do a lot of healing if
Remember-
we are
yeah.
not.
yeah. Remember to keep a spell handy for the moon.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I keep a second level spell, and I will do all the things.
so
I forgot to take a long rest, so I should do that.
So I think with all of those different heals, you do eventually find it possible to come back, and you've triaged everyone to the point where you can come back and heal Belinda, and you see the gash on her forehead sort of close up, and she tests out her arm, and it feels a little better, and she's just, thank you.
I give her the sweetest of boops. It is a little boop, and you
Yeah.
won't even have a scar.
Well, thank you. I think it's a scar. We all have plenty to remember this whole conflict already, but thank you so much. And Wilfred, I'm just so glad that you're all right. Wait, you're the one that spoke in my head, yes? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that was me.
Oh, thank you. It was such a relief. There was so much destruction from the dragon. I was so worried about you, Wilfred, and all of you. But I'm so glad that you were able to come through this all right.
Yeah, it was the fight with the dragon was really, really difficult.
You fought with the dragon.
Yeah.
Our
Prince
good
Shander.
buddy Marcher here got the final blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fought the dragon and killed it.
Well,
Yes.
not quickly enough. It did
Yeah.
a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
She's just taking a moment to kind of just absorb this, just in utter shock, and then she just turns to look at Wilfred and just says, I don't think I can top that.
Yeah,
You don't
Not a
have
competition.
to. You don't have to.
We'll just
Yeah.
have to make sure she lets your father know, correct, Wilfred?
honestly, I'm
She
caring a lot less
just
about
like
that.
pulls you in for a big hug, and she's just, tears, but giving you just a big hug.
Rowan, isn't this the place we were supposed to find your mother at?
No, Lonelywood is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not realize we weren't there yet.
No, you're in the.
This whole area is new to me. I usually just go in the wilds,
Yeah.
My mom's tough. She always shoots center mass.
But yeah,
Oh, this is
Belinda.
good. This is good to know.
Yes, she taught him well.
Oh,
So Belinda, while she's got you in that hug, just before she kind of pulls away, just says to Wilfred, "Is like, I'm sorry, I didn't believe in your. It seems like you saved a lot of people."
Yeah. Sometimes hard to believe in myself. So
Well, she kind of comes back and she like pokes her finger in your chest and said, "You and your friend killed a dragon. That's pretty good."
yeah. Yeah. And Father's ring, the one that or I don't know if he told you much about that.
Don't tell me he didn't tell you to get the ring back.
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Oh, Wilfred,
Did he happen to tell you
a
where
fish bit his finger off, and he wants you to find it.
Yeah. I might actually be able to do that.
What?
Yeah, we have ways of finding things.
Yeah.
What
It's,
you're not.
It's
Don't
good.
tell me you're just going to hang out at the docks and ask people if you can stick your finger down their fish's throat when they bring them in.
oh my
You
God,
know-
magical artifacts might tell me.
He has had kookier ideas than that.
I did actually stick my finger down the throat of a taxidermied fish this morning.
Mighty.
It was quite disgusting, but the fish sang afterwards, so I think it was okay.
Oh,
Old
is
Bitey.
that old Bitey?
But
Well, Wilfred, I tell you, before all of this, I would have told you that was stupid, and you should go back and throw that request in Father's face. But
Well,
I
hey,
don't know, like I wouldn't have thought that you and your friends that could kill a dragon. So maybe you can find that ring.
well, finding a ring wouldn't be too hard, right? Comparably.
Well, it depends, I guess. I suppose.
Depends on if the fish
Seems like a different skill
that
set.
it's still alive.
We've
And
learned a
heck,
few
maybe
tricks along the way.
Maybe
Well,
maybe we can use the tale of being part of slaying a dragon to, earn what I request.
yeah, I think I he- I'm just I'm preemptively jealous, imagining seeing Father's face when you actually produce the ring.
Yeah, that.
Because, like, Wilfred, that was a stupid request for you to accept. Like, what? I mean, the fact that you might be able to do it is one thing, but come on. That's like. But okay. You know what? Like, you've proven yourself to me, Wilfred. You be careful out there. If you can find a ring, that's great. Maybe don't fight any more dragons.
Not
Like
if I don't.
you've got that under your belt. You don't need to keep doing that.
I know. Yes,
Okay.
I won't go seeking out dragons to fight.
Good.
But, well,
We've only got the one left in this area.
we have actually seen
It's
seen
true.
another
We did
dragon.
see the other one.
It,
Oh my God.
it wasn't. It didn't. We didn't catch its attention, but we. It was too busy eating.
Something.
We
Well,
did see one.
I just want you to be okay.
I'm gonna try.
We won't let him fail.
Yeah.
Well,
These people will keep me alive. Even in the face of Arl's wrath.
I was just gonna say, when last we met, when I last saw you, I was glad that, like, I said, you know what, at least he's got friends. But now you've got friends that'll help you kill a dragon, and that's saying something.
Yes.
Righty.
I think so. I'm glad everybody's okay, and
Well, I mean, a lot of people,
everybody is
but
everybody who is okay is okay.
yeah, a bunch of people went down to. They were headed for Targos, but I don't know, like, where is there anywhere?
Chances are good that they were on the road when the dragon attacked Targos. So
Yeah.
Bryn Shander and East Haven. Bryn Shander is like 70% intact. East Haven is like 30% intact, maybe 40.
I was going to say half, but yeah, I think that. But okay, all right, that's good to know. That's scary. I'm just, but that same time, like, I caught a glimpse of that thing in the air, and
it was terrifying.
I have to feel like everyone who's alive in 10 Towns at all today has you to thank for that.
Well, I'm sure some of them would have been able to take care of themselves, but
I just wish
Good
that
to
the
know.
ballista bolt had hit. That would have been that had to have worked well if it did work.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been, that fight would have been over so much faster if that had hit.
And if
Oh,
you
well.
see if you see any material around that looks like what that matches the dragon or looks like it's like the same type as the dragon, do not touch it.
Yeah, it's like little pieces of black ice, and they are very dangerous.
Don't touch it. It's evil.
We do,
Okay.
when it exploded in Brinchend, but we don't know how far the debris from it went.
That's okay.
That's
No,
miles
no,
and
no.
miles away.
All the all of that just explains the kobolds. You saw all their traps, right? Like they were.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would not have survived the Duragar without their help.
Mm-hmm.
But the other, like, they've been doing something we all thought was just weird kobold superstition, but they've been finding little bits of rocks here and there saying that rock is bad luck, and then they throw it in the hole. We had no idea what they were doing. Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
Like, yes. It sounds reasonable to me.
I think extra rations for the kobolds.
Oh yeah.
they've earned their keep, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that you guys were able to form that partnership with them.
They've actually been really good. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of getting used to each other, but they're good workers.
Well, you humans can be difficult to get used to, but it happens after a while.
Yeah.
Same on our side too.
Since everyone here's been taken care of, shall we get on the road?
I think we should get moving. Yes.
I think as you're making your way out, there's some of the kobolds are standing in a little cluster and looking a little bit bashful. But they look up at you and just say, we just wanted to, like, we wanted to thank you for helping us, like, get a place here, and I guess you killed a dragon too, which, like, that wasn't like a real dragon, like it was a fake dragon, right?
It was
Yes.
a fake one. It was a
It was.
mockery.
It was. Yes. It was a construct dragon.
It was an imposter dragon.
The imposter dragon.
Yeah, they immediately have like a heated mini argument that consists of things like "I told you so," "No, you didn't," "I said so," and then but then it settles around again.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, we want to just we got you a present.
Oh,
Okay.
Right.
And they part to reveal that they have got a Duragar head, severed Duragar head, and they hold it up. It's like, we saved it for you.
That is adorable.
You know, Marcher, you did collect heads at one point.
Yeah,
I
I think
did,
that,
well,
I think
they
that
were
was
in-
yours.
They were in the backpack that I threw to Lila.
So they helped you start your collection again.
yeah.
I didn't hunt this one myself. I would have taken the dragon's head, except it's
But
not lucky. So
well, think of it this way: we saved them from the cold, got them here. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have been here to kill this
Yeah.
Durgar to take its head.
just stick it on a pike outside the mine. It will bring you good luck.
Okay.
No, I mean they could have been like they're an extension of your weapon.
I'm fine with having it on display here.
They yeah.
I would like to ask one of them, the unlucky stones that you keep finding, are they little black stones? Are they shiny?
Yeah, bad luck.
Bad luck. And you are putting them so that nobody else can get to them, right?
Well, I mean, we don't know what's at the bottom of the hole,
Okay.
but it's out of our hands. Like it's far away.
Good, good. As
Yes.
long as it is far away.
Someone else's bad luck.
You all are so adorable. I cannot get over this.
You should have seen the three that traveled with us and with the skill that they imitated being a human.
They're
Yeah.
pretty fetching in a trench coat.
Yeah, as you say that, the three of them, like, they hop on each other's shoulders. Hop, hop, and there's the two of them. And they're like, aha!
And like Mara is sitting there and she claps and is just like smiling for the first time in the last couple of days. Just delighted by these three.
Can we get going, please?
Yeah.
We do have
Yep.
Miles to go.
Yeah, Velene is out there going, yes, thank you.
So what, Velene, what we need to do is now Iggy's little friend knows the way. We want your zombies to be following Piccolo, and if you think, oh, we can't be going the right way, we need to turn, just don't follow that impression. Just go with it, let it go, and we will get there.
Some sort of abjuration effect.
Yes, it's the
yes.
deception of your sense of direction and everything. It guides you away from the place.
Did I
But
hear?
it doesn't work on Piccolo, and I don't think it will work on your zombies either.
Ancient elven magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Fascinating. So yeah, you head on up to Lonelywood, and alas, most of Lonelywood is, like all of the main structures are demolished. But what you see is a fair amount of people who seem to be trying to put up some like temporary structures and everything. And in fact, you do see Fiona, who is helping with that process. And as she sees you, she runs over to greet you and hugs Rowan and just says, "Ah, I'm so glad you're all right. We were able to hide out into the forest, and it came in and burned the town, but we didn't lose anybody. We were all safe."
That's good. We were a little worried because we knew some of the smaller towns wouldn't be able to muster a defense against the dragon.
Well, I don't think any of us really felt like trying our luck against that thing, but thankfully, with your warning, we were able to get to safety before it came. So, yeah.
Oh, hello, I am Mara. I was the one who yelled at you.
Oh, nice to meet you in person, and shakes her hand.
It makes you feel better. She keeps us from dying.
That's great. I appreciate that.
I do my best. I do a lot of dying too.
Well,
No, you don't.
not too much, I hope.
Just the once.
So what? I mean, what happened? What are the state of things out in?
Most of the towns are little better than Lonelywood. East Haven is partially destroyed. Rinshander is partially destroyed,
but because we were out of Tin Towns at the time, we were in the mountains when we saw the dragon heading to Tin Towns. We got a ride, luckily, and we were able to head it off in Brinshander, but we didn't have the capability of chasing it down and stopping it before it got to some of the other places.
Is it
very
stopped
fast.
then? Is it?
It's
It's
destroyed.
dead. It's been
Yeah.
destroyed.
Mark got the final blow. I feel like he'd be wearing its head right now if it wasn't.
If it wasn't made out of evil crystal.
And Marcher puts his finger alongside his nose and points to Rowan's mom and says, "Center of mass."
Well, I'm glad that somebody listens.
Actually, Rowan has been doing very well.
He has learned his lesson. Those trick shots, he only takes them when he has a good chance of succeeding.
It's like one of my most effective battles.
He's been doing very, very
He's
well.
been doing much better. You will be proud. He's made some amazing shots.
Oh, Rowan, I'm already proud. I'm always proud.
Enough about my shooting. Has there been anything weird from?
Don't worry, I will keep reminding him. I will not let him forget.
Has there been any weird things from out in you know where?
No, I mean, we really haven't had any disturbance from there. Obviously, we left that mummy, but it seems to have been staying put. After all, we were here a long time without even realizing that place was out there at all. So, doesn't seem to be any sign. I haven't tried to go back.
And is your little bush friend okay?
Oh yes, yeah, he's very sweet actually. I mean, I know that's kind of funny because of the berries, but he's very endearing. He's eager to please, and it's taken a little while for him to accept that we're going to be nice to him. I gather the druid was not very nice to him.
I don't think that was in their vocabulary too much.
Well,
We're gonna head out there because we're going to investigate the rest of the ruin because we heard from the bush that there was a mirror we could ask questions to. So.
yes.
And we have a long.
And we've got a number of questions to ask him.
Well, so I think we've just missed the full moon. Do you know? I mean,
That is okay.
Oh,
I serve the moon goddess, and I have ways to direct the moon's power even when it is not the full moon.
oh, that's how the druid did it. I think.
So yes, we are not restricted by the phases of the moon. I am the phases of the moon. Is that
Well.
right? I think that's right.
I accept that judgment of you.
Well, she turns back to Rowan and says, "Well, good job continuing to make new friends." I mean, like, you were always good making friends. I'm not trying to say.
Give her a hug, let's
don't-
get on the
There's a
way.
lot going on. Allow Mom to get a little flustered when.
No,
Rowan
keep
is such a
digging. This is
wonderful-
great. I love it.
Rowan is such a wonderful archer. I don't know why they keep giving him a hard time, but he has protected us. He has protected me in various situations. He is very strong person in our party.
Don't know if I should be blushing or embarrassed. So, let's go.
Mara's cheeks are a little bit purple too. So
And I think Velene it kind of just sort of says, "So we were going out to the ruins," and at that point Fiona just says, "I think they were going out to the ruins in a minute."
Oh boy! I wish I had popcorn.
I'm sorry I missed that last.
Just saying, going out in a minute. But I think at that point there's sort of a, 5 to 6 second staring contest, and Velene just says, "All right."
Yeah.
So-
Sorry. Rowan just goes, "Oh boy."
So I'm afraid I'm really busy here right now. We've got a lot to do here in town. We're trying to, get some structures
It's fine.
back up, get people indoors. But
It's fine, Mom. We're gonna probably stay since we've basically figured out everything that's going on, or that was going on at the ruins. We're probably gonna stay at the ruins tonight, after we've explored the last few rooms that we couldn't get into because we were out of sync with the moon phases, and then we'll check back in before we leave.
wonderful. Good luck.
He gives his mom a hug and looks at everyone else and kind of just. Yeah, to the ruins.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Velene doesn't say anything else, but there is just a one last little exchange look between her and Fiona as you're leaving.
I just have this image of Velene and then Fiona and that little electric line with the zigzag
Yeah.
in between them.
Anime.
It's reminding me of the scene from Civil War where it's like move or you will be moved, and they just stare off, and then T'Challa goes, "As amusing as that would be, we have other things to do right now."
I was imagining the bit in it's early in Legend of Korra where Lin Beifong, the chief of police, has just met Korra for the first time, and as Korra's leaving, she does the like I'm watching you. That gesture points out her eyes, and then Korra does it back sarcastically.
Yes.
Anyway, you all head out back into the forest, and because you've all got the magic figured out pretty much at this point, your strategy will work. We don't have to belabor the granular detail of it. So we can go ahead and move you to that that map.
So I saved
There we go.
1, 2, 3. I saved 4 instances of Moonbeam that I can cast.
Great. Hang on, let me change out your tokens because you're not like that right now. So let's put so we got Rowan and Wilfred and Ale and Iggy. And it is dark, so you'll need to figure that out. But just a moment, and then
All right, I forgot to buy a trench coat.
I think we could retcon that
Marcher.
if you really want one.
Okay.
Or
If we're lucky, we can just travel with the mummy. Because at this point, we're already traveling with undead kobolds. So what's one more undead?
that's true.
All right, let's get Velene on there too.
I hope you didn't say that while Mara was there. Because she would be staring daggers at you at this point.
So Mara has, or Velene rather, has a couple of her. She has the living kobolds stay with she has the zombie kobolds stay with the sleds, and a couple of her, but she has a couple of her attendant living kobolds come with her. But let's see, she's gonna just pull out a torch that she has from her own.
And I'll cast light on my staff.
Okay.
Wilfred do the same on his shield.
And Iggy will do the same for Ale's shield.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me go ahead and add that light effects to everybody.
I'm in a tree.
And we need to tell the mummy not to attack our friends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the mummy is still in place, then we don't really have to worry about it. Because he
We
was
did
just
not give
walking.
it. We did not give it explicit orders to not to attack anybody who was with us.
Do we see the mummy patrolling?
Yeah, as you are heading up closer to this area, you do see that the mummy does seem to still be. Its primary patrolling is up there by the sarcophagus that it emerged from, but you nonetheless have. I think as you're approaching, since you're not being stealthy, it does start heading in your direction.
I speak out to it. Oi, we're back. Don't attack us.
Very well. Do you have new instructions for me?
You can wait right there for now. We're going to go check out some of the rest of the ruins.
Sonar will wait as commanded. And Velene kind of looks up at the mummy and then looks over to you and just kind of says, "May I? May I?
May you?"
I just wish to inspect him closer."
Yes, that's fine.
Bless the mummy.
Yeah. So she heads up there, and as she's approaching, Sonar looks and says, "Shall I dispose of this intruder?"
No.
Very well.
See,
And-
guys, it even asked, so like it understands. It has
Yeah.
basic comprehension.
And I think as
Yes.
that whole exchange plays out, Velene is just looking in and she says, "Well, aren't you a good boy?"
Oh no!
And as we're going away, Marcher turns to Rowan and says, "Yes, but do you want him talking like that the entire time? He sounds so funny."
You had three kobolds in a trench coat. Did they not sound funny?
No, not in the slightest.
Oh, well played.
Do you mean funny as in humorous or funny as in strange?
Yes, exactly.
Both?
Because you all sound funny as in strange to me.
At least the kobolds would know to keep quiet when around people that might realize that they're not human.
Now, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the place where the moon control happens here with this thing.
Yes, that's correct. And so Velene is certainly just, without commenting too much, she's letting you do what you already apparently know how to do, but she's certainly seeing this stuff for the first time and is, inspecting it with interest.
So
As we did.
now we know two things: that the druids used their magical moonlight to control this ruin, and that you have magical moonlight. There's some gap between that because we are missing a few pieces of information about how the druids used magical moonlight to control these
Sorry.
ruins.
I'm
Well,
moving your
let
token
me-
over, Mara, so you can just...
Thank you, because
yeah.
it's not loading for me for some reason, but I'm
Oh.
on my laptop, so that could be why.
Okay, well, I will move your token along with everyone else then.
I do have my D&D Beyond up, so I can roll things.
Now,
So I would
I'm-
like to inspect it to see if I can figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, so definitely along with what everyone else has kind of told you already, you definitely are able to... hang on first, I'm going to remove these dead bodies of the moose and the druid, because you didn't leave them there.
Your mummy is very good at cleaning things.
But yeah, so I think what you are able to discern with their help and to understand pretty clearly is that the moon dial is designed, first of all, to naturally respond to the normal phases of the moon and activate certain effects at certain times. In particular, there are two doors that activate on the half moon waxing and half moon waning. But then also the full moon activates this mirror, which you wouldn't necessarily have a detailed understanding of what that mirror does, except that it is clearly tied to the moon dial saying full moon. But you know that with your moonbeam spell, what you can essentially do is shine the moonbeam spell on the appropriate symbol, and it should activate the magic just like the moon would if it were going.
Okay.
So
I think what I do is direct my moonbeam here, and then it will do what it's supposed to do. Now we are asking it to show us a thing, yes?
well,
Well-
from what we understand, if the moon dial thinks that it is a full moon, then a mirror inside will activate and we can use for scrying.
Yeah, somewhere inside there's a mirror. I'm
No,
assuming.
it's not somewhere. We know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
We couldn't make it work last time.
Okay.
Did we actually find the mirror? Because I know there was a
Yes.
door we couldn't get into because
yeah, Wilfred down by where Wilfred is, that's the mirror. There is another door that you didn't get into that's that is over
That
here.
is a secondary concern.
Okay. So I will cast moonbeam at second level. on the appropriate rune, and we will see what happens.
For the
And-
full moon, yeah.
For the full moon, and I will of course say, in the name of the moon, I shall punish
Enlighten
you,
you. Enlighten you.
enlighten you, enlighten you.
Enlighten you.
And Wilfred would hope that Valiana or Velena and others would join Wilfred before that happens.
So, mechanically, the way the mirror works, more or less, is that it effectively allows you to cast the scrying spell.
Okay. And that works on a person or a person or a place.
Yeah, but I'm basically, depending on what it is that you want, you might have to figure it out a little bit to try to figure out what to do, but, you can,
So,
You know.
given that we do not know how many times we will be able to use this thing, What is our first priority?
what you know is, as long as it's active by by the moon dial, you can just keep doing it.
Ah,
Now that said,
Oh.
the moonbeam spell
Oh, wow, great.
doesn't have an infinite duration. It lasts what, like,
so do we
It
need to
lasts
like
for up
coordinate?
to
like,
1
all right,
minute.
Go
Right.
and then
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there is 1 minute, and I can cast this up to 4 times. So this is time number 1.
So it sounds like we can
Okay,
look at 4
sorry.
things, and we need to have a relay to say, okay, go, and then use it.
Okay, so Piccolo will go down with the with one thing, and I'll stay here, and I'll stay here with
I'll
Mara,
stay in the
and
I'll stay in this doorway here. And so yeah, when we make the signal, it's actually not that far away. It should be just like,
Yeah.
all right, go.
Yeah. Well, no, you can go down there because I can hear what Piccolo hears, and
Oh,
Piccolo
okay.
can communicate with me directly. So you can go down.
All right. So what do we want to scry on? We want to scry on the white book, and we want to scry on the professor, and we want to spy on the signet ring. Is there anything else we
then-
want to ask about?
If the city, Itharian.
The city.
Well, she knows where that is, like how to get
Okay.
there. But the book is the spell that will allow you to get through the glacier to where the city is. But
Okay.
there is the she wanted to also still find the tower that Dazan found. But you guys had a little bit of a hint as to that location already, so you could certainly get it for certain. But you also think you might have enough information to find it without that.
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, what I was thinking about was the device to see if that device is actually there.
So I had written down the Professor Orb, the book, the tower that the Red Mage had found, and the signet ring.
Yeah.
Things we
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So at this point, Ali clears his throat and says, "There's something." No, it's not important.
what?
And then he clamps up.
Yeah, I would. There's something I would like to look at too, but we don't have time for that. We only have 4. We have 4 things, and they are more important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's I guess we can
So
I think we
book
can
first
ask
or professor.
I say either way, it doesn't matter. The Professor Orb can go first, and then we can ask about the book.
Okay.
So
All right. So
okay.
the Professor Orb is what you asked first?
Yeah.
Okay. What you hang on, sorry, I'm just pulling stuff up to make sure I have correct information for everyone. I have too many tabs open is the problem here. Okay. So now that you've kind of concentrate on that. In fact, actually, Velene suggests that if that's what you're looking for, she's the one that knows it the best because
Yes.
it belonged to her.
I
yep.
will.
Be our guest.
Yeah. So she focuses on it, and what you all see is through this mirror. You see sort of this lifting of the perspective as though you are rising up off the ground and then zooming across the landscape. Then you're zooming across open water with lots of floating icebergs here and there, and moving north until you find an island that is somewhat ominously shaped a little bit like a snowflake in the same sort of crystalline shape. But then zooming in closer along one of the sort of protrusions of this island, you zoom in and you see this frost-covered, glowing purple orb about the size of like a grapefruit. And it seems to be stuck in the clutches of a corpse, frozen corpse. And
Well,
at that point, Velene, when you all see the corpse, Velene goes, "Ha! Serves her right."
And Marcher turns to Aule, who's standing somewhat nearby, and says, Angajut's bell, correct?
Wait, what's this?
Supposedly, we heard a story that on the northern edge of Icewind Dale, on the northern coast, there is a bell, which, if you ring it, will summon a boat that will take you to the Frostmaiden's realm. And that looks, and given that it's across the water to the north, and it's shaped like a snowflake, I think that that's probably the what that represents.
Well, that's promising. I had thought we
Okay.
might need to charter a ship. Revel's End is on a port that does have ships that cross the sea of moving ice. Either that, or we would need some way to fly across. And incidentally, when she says fly across, Marcher, one of the things that occurs to you is my people do train griffins for riding.
Ooh, Griffin.
I mean, yes, but the bigger point is that it's on the Isle of the Frostmaiden.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Well-
does present a certain amount of challenge.
Well, Velene said, but of course that was my whole point, is that she was on the same trail that we are trying to be on. And so she has already conveniently placed herself somewhere we were likely to have to go anyway.
Yes. Well,
So
Why would she have gone out there if she already had the orb? She stole the orb from you. Why would she go out there? Was she trying to get on the Frostmaiden's good side?
No, my guess is that she had already learned that the Codicil of White is also on that island. My guess is that when we scry on it, we will find that information.
Well,
let's have a look and see.
Let's confirm.
yes.
Next.
Alright, and so Ig will pass the word on to Mara.
Okay, then the next one is a third level moonbeam.
Moonbeam number 2. So she
If
concentrates.
I get to 5, I get to sing Moonbeam number 5.
A little bit of moonbeam in the moon. A little bit.
A little bit of stardust in my life. A
Yeah.
little bit of comets, what I see. Okay, I'm done.
There you go. This time she is focusing on the Codicil of White, knowing what she has learned about it, which is that it is an ancient book written by followers of the Frostmaiden, but that she believes it to have the magic necessary. And sure enough, what you once again see a similar sort of zooming to a similar looking island, but this time instead of flowing over to a portion of this, outer island, it heads straight for the center. And in the center, it zooms up to what looks like perhaps first a mountain, and then you realize that there's some kind of a fortress on the top of this mountain, built into the mountain, and it's all made out of sheer white ice and or stone, and it's kind of shaped like a skull. And Velene actually kind of snickers to herself at that point and just says, well, that does seem like somewhere the goddess of winter's wrath might hang out.
I am not surprised.
And then so the perspective zooms in through that, and you lose some of the perspective detail of what it's around, but it goes in until you don't really see much of the interior, but you pass into a small room with the walls apparently made of ice and a small podium where there is a small ancient it would be like it's almost like bound in fur or hide, like leather but with the fur still on it. And
Can we make out any details about what's around it?
not really. Like it's in a small room that seems just for that, and you don't really get much sense of what would have been around it inside, because it's really passing through to that location happens very fast.
Okay.
So it's one thing when it's still going through a long, over a great distance, and it's zooming fast, but you still have enough to see a little detail. Once it zooms into the interior, you don't really get much else. But it is definitely in the fortress somewhere.
Alrighty.
Wow. Looks like we're gonna have to go meet the Frostmaiden.
Now those are the only two things you need, correct? We don't actually need this tower. But you want to go to the tower anyways.
Well, I suspect that it is a part of the floating city that broke off before it crashed. Does seem like it might have some useful things there, yes?
Fair enough.
I don't know what else might be there, but given that we're looking for a city, it seems like if there's a part of it that's easier to get to, why would we not check it out?
You make a good point.
But the Frostmaiden could also be there.
Oh, she could also be here. That's immaterial. The Frostmaiden herself. Probably
Velene just kind of gestures outside, like.
Now this signet ring.
Well, we also have to the
Tower.
The tower.
Yeah.
Tower.
You had already received sort of a vague description of where that tower was supposed to be. So if you wanted to try to find it based on that, you could potentially use the mirror for something else, or you could obviously use this and find it exactly.
Can I say to Iggy, do we have one more available scry? Is there anything else that they want to look for? If not, I have a thing I would
Okay.
like to look for.
I think it is
I-
fair since Mara is casting the spell that
Yeah.
she get to use
Yeah.
her ability for
My-
her.
But how are we?
Iggy's-
But here's the thing: is she going to be able to get from the thing over to the mirror fast enough to do the scry?
So,
Yeah, I think so. It's not
Okay.
far.
Okay.
so I will if I know this, then I will cast it again at 3rd level,
Okay.
and then I will bamf myself down there
High
with
step.
my with,
Yeah.
with my equivalent of shadow step, and
There
I
you go.
will say, "Show me the Irolarthas."
Interesting. Okay. Iriolathus. Right.
Yes, I
Lathas.
cannot pronounce it even
Yeah.
in best language.
It's so as you say that, that gets Velene gives you a little bit of a But certainly what you find is, I've put you all on the Icewind Dale map. So previously, the island you saw is not shown on this map, but you zoom up into the sea of moving ice as shown in the northwest. That's where it your perspective traveled up that way. This time, you see once again get that rising perspective, but you move to the east and you zoom. You're watching this enormous glacier loom before you, and then you penetrate down into it, and there is a lot of confusing imagery that the image you're seeing on the mirror seems oddly warped and distorted in some way that you can't really it's clearly broadcasting something, but you can't really make out what you're seeing. But then you do get a little bit of hang on, I have to sorry, give me just a moment. Because you are currently trying to scry on a creature, so he gets an opportunity to do something about that.
Oh no.
We're here for you, Mara.
You all don't even know. Well, Aulay knows, but no one else knows what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hang on. I'm sorry. This is just
His father
I could
confessor,
have planned
apparently.
this better to have this ready, but
It is okay. I did not plan on being here.
yeah. Where is that character sheet? Gosh. I'm sorry this is taking me a little bit. I need to.
Feel free to ask me questions while the image comes into focus.
Okay.
So what is this?
What are you
Okay.
looking for, Mara?
You all have your mission. This one is mine.
Mm-hmm.
I am told I am bid to find this creature and destroy it, as it is
An
it
aberration.
defies it is an aberration against death and the natural cycle. It is it may be an ally of the Frostmaiden.
Mhm.
All I know is it's not good.
All right. So, So what happens is that you find this view going into the glacier, and then you're passing through. Maybe this is just going through ice, but everything looks a little bit strangely warped. And then you get just the tiniest little glimpse of what looks like a strange cityscape. And then you feel yourself moving towards this central tower spire, but then there's just this tiniest flash in your head of a skeletal face with glowing gem eyes and a voice that just says, no. And then all of a sudden the mirror goes blank.
We will
Well,
find
then.
him. We will find him, Mara. I promised you I would help you get to him, and I hold myself to that promise.
Looks like your
but,
path stays with us here.
But yeah, Velene sees all of that and then looks to you, Mara, and just says, now I see why the city has your interest.
And why does it have yours?
Well, I explained why.
I
is
missed
a-
it.
Oh, well. Because it basically, it's a crashed ancient flying city once run by an empire of super wizards. It probably has some cool stuff there.
So destroying this creature would not be a conflict of interest between us, yes?
Oh no, in fact, I'm sure if there is a powerful creature there still and still conscious, then destroying it would almost certainly be on the agenda.
Then we can continue to travel together.
Good. I'm glad that's still happening.
She says, thinking these people are so slow.
So, There's the have enough to look for the ring.
No? Mara?
Yep.
One more?
One more.
Yes, I have one more. So, go ahead.
So you focus on the ring as you know it. You concentrate on the image of it in your mind, and you find that your view is looming up, and then doesn't go too far. It just goes to the southwest over Mayor Dwalden, this lake, and as it gets a little bit closer to the western half of the lake, it plunges under the water. And as you plunge down into these icy depths, you see what looks like a tiny little pile of shiny things. And sitting like on the edge of it is the ring. But it is sitting in a small pile of what look like coins and keys and other shiny metal things.
Wow, that's an oddly organized pile for a
Fish?
for fish. Yeah.
I don't think that was a fish.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been a fish, just a fish that has more of a mind than more of a thinking mind than others.
Or just likes shiny things. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been fishing, but some fishermen just use shiny things to fish with rather than live bait. So might just like shiny things.
If this is a gigantic coconut crab, I'm out.
Shiny.
There is
I'm
some
out to
history here with coconut crabs.
Yes, they are not good with butter.
Good singers, though.
Yes,
So
very good.
yeah, so
All right,
that last scry kind of fades then, and Velene just says, "Well, that one was close, at least."
Yeah.
Can you show me on the map if you feel like you have a lead on where this other tower is? Can you show me? And you do have that. So where you've got on the map here this lost spire of Netheril. Like that
Yes.
was the rumor you heard was that it was in
Yeah.
this little this area.
It looks like it's might be a hilltop there too. So.
Yeah.
So yes, we believe that is there. So we have one more, because it seems odd to make use this powerful thing for something we probably already know. So
I have no more moonbeams. That was my last one.
oh, that was the last one. I thought
Yes.
we had one more. Oh, real? Then
No,
that
I only saved 4. I said 5 because it was funny.
So we had the orb, the book, the ring, and what was the fourth?
The 4th
Tower.
was the creature that I needed
Oh.
to find.
Creature.
Oh, right.
Mars creature.
Yes, of course. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. So we're good.
Yep.
So, it's good. We are so close to the water, but the thing is, how are we going to get down there to it, and how are we going to find out specifically where it is? That's a big ask.
I look to what's her name?
Velene.
Velene.
Mm-hmm.
Velene, can you see through the eyes of the undead you control?
No, but I do have other methods. I can. Well, I suppose we're working as a team. I don't need to keep too many secrets. Part of how I was able to find you is I can conjure an arcane eye that I can see through, and it can float along. And for an hour, I can send it where I will and see what it sees. And so I could certainly send that down into the water.
I could also prepare. I know there is a spell called Locate Object, and I can prepare this tomorrow when we rest. I can prepare it in the morning.
I would not want to borrow a boat from Lonelywood. They will probably need those for fishing. But how far away from the edge of the ice do you think we are?
So there's not and Lonelywood, it's not too icy on the coast. It's like it's pretty close to the water.
Okay, so is it close to the Lonelywood side of Merdwalden?
No. The ring was in the western half of the lake.
Right.
But what I was saying is that where you are in Lonelywood, like it's not a lot of ice there, and that's what I thought you were asking.
No, yeah, I was thinking we didn't want to borrow a boat here because they're going to need them to feed people.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how to get to that cache.
Well, perhaps
Out in the water.
Bremen has surviving boats.
You get the
mostly
feeling
ice,
that this little pink circle, it was approximately there, was about where it seemed to go underwater.
So perhaps what we can do is go around the northern edge, go out onto the ice just on foot, and then Aule and I, who do not have so much trouble with the cold, can try and swim down to it.
It is pretty
Aye.
deep.
Wilfred pulls out the ring he was given, and say, "I got another one of us that might not have a."
Now, if it's really deep, we may need to worry about air.
Which is why I was going to say, if an undead creature under the guided hand
That's a good.
could go down, they don't worry about the cold or oxygen.
Can Piccolo
That's
swim?
true.
It needs oxygen.
I should also point out there's a cleric spell. No, it's not cleric. Never mind. Water breathing is.
It's-
Breathing
I was
is a
going to
cleric
say,
spell.
I was looking for it and not finding it.
Yeah, no, it's druid, ranger, sorcerer, wizard, and artificer. So
Because
Would it happen to be a ritual spell?
No.
Yes, it is a ritual spell.
oh,
And what level?
Third.
Well, if Wilfred could find a record of it, he could actually learn it, given appropriate.
The only thing that I have is water walk. And this would allow people to walk across the water, which would probably be more helpful for the people who are not swimming.
So here's what my undead can offer. You are correct. They do not need to breathe. They will not be bothered by the cold. However, they are not the sharpest tools in the shed. They are good when directly supervised and not so much when out of sight.
So perhaps we can protect Piccolo somehow, and he can go with them. Or
One of the things that, like,
Piccolo needs
as
a breathing spell.
while you are thinking about this, Velene just says, "Piccolo's your familiar, yes?
yes.
Well, perhaps you or I, or both of us, can conjure our familiar into a more convenient shape." That is one of the
Having-
things that Find Familiar can do. Is you can cast the spell again and have it turn into something else.
Yes. And then that would eliminate the entire problem. Then just conjure it in the shape of a knucklehead and go down and get it.
And how long would Piccolo have to stay that way?
Until it casts it again.
But don't you need special
Yeah.
materials to cast it?
Yeah, components.
Yeah. I need.
Is it 10 gold?
Well,
Or
No,
25?
it's like 10 gold worth of like fancy insets. But Velene just kind of sighs and says, "I have that."
God.
How about this? I will provide the ingredients, but you do it to your familiar. Mine doesn't
Okay.
particularly enjoy being in flightless shapes.
Okay.
I would.
So I will ask Piccolo how he feels about doing this.
Uh,
Not as
Right.
a knucklehead trout. Is there like a tiny water version of the dragon that it could turn into,
I
or some other kind?
like
No.
what?
Yeah,
I mean, you're
octopus?
you're asking like, is there a hypothetical thing that I can't think of, but maybe you can?
Yeah, yeah, but no, never mind. Don't worry about
That's
it.
all right. The answer is no, but yeah,
Okay.
Or
but that's
an
okay.
octopus?
I mean, octopus would not probably be super great in the cold.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the advantage of a knucklehead trout is that it's well suited to the environment.
Right. Okay. All right. So I will ask Piccolo how he feels about doing this.
So if I recall correctly, we established he doesn't speak to you like in words, but
Well,
or-
no, he does.
Okay, well, okay, I'm trying to remember. Like, we haven't had him
Okay.
talk to you in, like, at all. So I'm trying to, like, establish that. Okay, so what he says is, that seems weird, but if it will help, then I will do it as long as you change me back.
Okay. Absolutely, we'll change you back.
All right?
So
So forgive me for forgetting that Piccolo can talk if you never talk to him.
Well, no, Oh, never mind. All right,
No,
let's keep going.
moving on.
Yes.
Moving
on.
I just like you.
Yeah,
I'm one.
I'm the one introvert in a room full of extroverts that I don't get much screen time.
It's okay.
Sorry.
well, okay, so we have that information. Huh. Wow. I mean, you wouldn't happen to know a water breathing spell, would you?
Me?
You're talking
No.
to Velene?
Velene,
Oh, Velene.
No. If I did, I would have said something sooner.
of course. I
Give the ranger another level.
if we can find it, we can
I
find.
mean, I can.
I mean,
I know that
if-
there is also a spell called Control Water that I can prepare.
I mean,
once
that's
we
not
address
really
it.
that's not really going to do what you need to do, though. I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean,
Well,
on the subject
If it's straight down, we can move the water away.
well,
Yeah,
but I mean, you can't like it. You can't like move it all the way to the bottom of a lake.
No, well, it depends on how much lake there is.
Well, but
I
if-
can
okay.
move a cube that is up to 100 feet on a side.
Well,
That's
but
pretty
okay, yeah, all right, but okay. That
It's okay. You are the GM. You can tell me it does not work that way.
The
yeah,
the
it,
lake
it does
is,
not work that way.
yeah, the lake I'm sure is pretty deep, and on top of that, even if we could cast water breathing, that doesn't protect us from the fact that this is literally frigid sub-zero temperature water.
Well,
I mean, like,
zero
as
by definition.
yeah.
Yes.
Marcher, LA, and with the ring, one other person can have protection. But anyway, we can move on now. Yeah, if we find that spell, it might be worth a record of that spell. It might be worth keeping.
I think that okay. I'm looking at control water. That would work if it wasn't so deep.
Okay, but it is too
it's-
deep.
It's too deep.
Understood.
But as far as the give the ranger another level thing, I mean, there's an element to which, like, I mean, Rowan, if you felt like you were working on that and you were almost close, and maybe if we could come back when I have that, then that's another. You could talk.
Yeah.
about
Do you
that.
want to use up that spell on this one thing though? Because you can't change your spells the way a wizard can. So.
Yeah. Just saying.
I'm wondering how much use you'll get out of it.
Although we,
I think Velene is kind of like, why are we still talking about this? I thought the plan was to send the familiar down.
yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
do it that way. As long as Piccolo will be safe, because
Yeah.
we've had a few adventures where Piccolo has not been safe.
Yeah. I think our alternative name from the Seekers is the Overthinkers Club.
I'm getting that.
So
Here's my proposal. We don't know that it's safe. Obviously, the ring was in a pile assembled by something. There's something down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something's putting shiny things in a pile. So there's something down there. It is possible that Piccolo, that's your familiar's name, will encounter said thing when he goes down. Not to mention that if he's a knucklehead trout, there are things that eat knucklehead trout. However, one of the advantages of a familiar is if they are destroyed, you just bring them back.
yes. So, and I think that if we also have got magic on our hands that can protect Piccolo on this endeavor. That we have a few protection spells we can put on him. Yes, among the group. I think,
Not today.
well, it's
Well, it's probably going to be at least.
But
Right.
I do have enhance ability that I can
probably
give.
would help. There are various protection spells. I don't have one personally. Not that would be helpful, but
So there is that. I could possibly. I can't do them at the same time. Because there is the enhance ability, or I can do bless, or I can do resistance, or I could do guidance, but I cannot do any of them at the same time.
Actually, the resistance and the guidance wouldn't last long enough. So.
No.
Yeah. I've got invisibility and it lasts an hour. So.
Oh, I have
That's-
greater
But-
invisibility, but that is
That-
also I would not be able to do enhance ability.
Yeah.
It also only lasts a minute.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, but I would need to change Piccolo back. I would need to save my other spell slot. I've only got 2. So yeah, let's accept that as a plan. And Piccolo is very intelligent, so he will.
So what we're going to do is going to go out on the ice as close as we can to the site.
Yep.
Now I can't see the text very well, but it looks like there's ice all the way out to like here.
Yeah, although it gets more and more treacherous the farther out you go, obviously.
Right. So we probably want to leave the dog sleds behind on the solid ice and head out on foot for the last bit. But with care, we can get fairly close, and then send Piccolo down.
Are we doing this today or in the morning?
In the morning.
I think
In the morning, please.
Very well, then I can prepare for us a magical shelter for the evening.
That will do very nicely, thank you.
Would that be a tiny hut?
It would.
Ah, yes. Both myself and Mara are capable of doing that as well.
Can have an interlocked
Not
section
tonight.
Plenty of
Yeah.
Well, ritual?
Splendid.
One for the dogs, one for us.
Yes, allow me to perform it tonight.
I am not so skilled at ritual casting as you are.
Well, I mean, actually, clerics can cast ritual spells if they haven't prepared, right?
I think that's the case.
I thought you had to have a feat for that. So.
Well, it's a question of whether you have to. Let's see, ritual casting. You have to have it prepared.
Okay.
But the benefit that some classes have is that they can have it as long as it's in their spell book or whatever.
Yeah.
They can do it as a ritual, even if they don't have it prepared. Clerics have to have it prepared. But it doesn't matter because Valene's going to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
just that.
I,
All right.
Overthinkers Club, yay!
Well, so does that mean that I could have done another moonbeam if I cast it
It's not a
ritually?
ritual spell.
No, only the spells that have the little R by them.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But Tiny Hut is one of those. So, but in any case, she says, "How about you continue to overthink over here while I cast the spell?"
That would be a good idea.
And then I recommend you go to sleep because otherwise you will have a rude awakening in the morning.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So she sets up the dome, and it is familiar in terms of its the magical effect of it.
Does she? What color? Or does she have it be like the skies? Same color as the surrounding.
I mean, she makes it white.
Yep.
Okay.
It's it makes sense.
You are also already currently on ancient elven ruins that are already substantially protected by
Yes.
an abjuration effect.
True. Yeah.
Although one
And
of
a
the
mummy.
things she points out as she is, you're all kind of settling in, is she just says, I'm pretty sure that if you knocked all those statues over, it would stop being so hard to find.
We're actually glad that it's like this because we wouldn't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry in here.
Fair enough.
So the statues do have something to do with it. So actually, if they're
Especially-
wearing away with erosion, it might take a few thousand years, but the magic's probably going to fail.
Eventually.
Yeah,
And-
and especially given that we have the guard mummy out here and the fact that this was evil druids hideout. Yeah, we don't want the locals from Lonelywood stumbling on this place.
Yeah. Oh man, I just had a thought. The mummy could come and retrieve it. He's undead.
He can come and go as he wills.
Yeah. Well, I
Right.
mean, that is an option. Like, he is more coherent and able to follow instructions.
Right. Anyway,
Up to you guys.
Yep.
All right.
We have a way in and out. We're good.
Okay.
Ever willing
So
to
you
just-
go ahead and get a long rest there in the hut, and then are you headed promptly around the lake? And
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think so.
okay,
Yep.
I think it probably takes you, probably a good 5 or 6 hours to kind of get all the way around because you're not going on roads unless you wanted to go around the south. I mean, you specifically said going around the north end, but it would probably
mean-
actually be faster going around the south because you're on
Yeah,
the road.
probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're gonna go straight there from Bremen.
Yeah, well, and for that matter, like, are you want to go to Bremen? Because for that matter, if you're coming around the south, you could just go, like, to right here, right? Like,
Yeah.
well, I figure, if we go to Bremen, we can see what if there are any boats, so we can get closer to it.
Yeah, but then we have to drag the boats on across the ice and onto the water.
Yeah. I think that would be. I don't think that's necessary.
I mean, you guys tell me what you want to do, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just stop at that halfway point
All right,
and then
like that?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you want to stop there?
Yeah, well, it's just a little bit out, and the Find Familiar spell, it doesn't have a time limit when I change shape. And
Well,
then I'll-
and
Okay.
you have the benefit with your familiar that you can send him further out than Velene can.
It's like a mile and a half out in the water from there.
right, but he can keep going, and I can piggyback along with him.
Okay.
You guys tell me what you want to do.
Yeah.
Can
Okay.
you-
Yeah.
If you
So.
can stay in contact with him for that distance, then yeah, I think that sounds probably the best thing.
Yeah.
All right.
And any long last. I mean, I would cast False Life if I could cast it on anybody but myself. I don't have anything else to protect him with.
No, he should be okay.
Okay.
All right. So you are casting any other spells on Piccolo before you turn him into a fish, or after you turn him into a fish? Like
Probably after we turn him into a fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of blessings you guys could bestow. Whatever you think might help would probably be appreciated.
So once he is a fish, I will cast Fox's Cunning, which is an intelligence advantage, and that lasts for an hour. That's through my enhance ability.
Interesting choice. Okay.
Okay.
Well, it takes a bit of smarts to investigate a place, yes?
Yeah.
So this is my thinking.
Okay.
So once that is done, that is what I will cast.
The Rangers got nothing on this one. This is all you guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, nothing Wilfred has will help.
All right. So, I think you cast the ritual of Find Familiar, which I believe is a ritual. So I don't think have to use your spell slot if you're taking the time for it. Am I wrong?
It takes an hour.
But it has the
But
little
does
ritual tag, right? Yeah? Yeah?
I don't think so. I don't think it's a ritual.
Okay.
Just takes a long time to
Yeah,
cast.
no, it absolutely is a ritual. And you can tell because on the casting time, it has a little R in a black box next to it. That's what that means.
So you can cast it without having to spend a spell slot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which means that you can use invisibility from a spell slot and be able to change him back when he gets back.
Okay. I will definitely do that. Well, no, can I hold concentration and tag along with him?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Sure. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you're not being attacked or anything of that nature. You're just kind of piggybacking
Okay,
along.
watch this, everybody. Cut to, all of that has happened already, and Piccolo, as a fish, is swimming down in the lake. And it's all fine.
Invisibly.
Invisibly. All right. Okay, we're doing that. It's happening. It happened already, in fact. It's in progress.
Yes.
Velene basically just let you do all of that, but I think at a certain point, while you're waiting, Velene will nudge you to have you briefly come out of your sensory with the, link with Piccolo.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of say, you can send your familiar pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
You have a pretty impressive sword. I don't suppose you've made promises to it.
We have an agreement.
Interesting. Then she just kind of backs off again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, you're sending down Piccolo to, to approximately where you believe that the scry was going, but, that's still going to require, looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I need you to have Piccolo make perception checks.
Okay.
With his -2.
Oh. I thought it was going to be investigation.
Okay, so
How about this? We can say retroactively you realized, oh wait, it's probably more important for it to be able to see a tiny little thing in the lake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So Owl's wisdom instead.
Yeah. So make your perception check with Piccolo's.
Advantage.
Yeah.
all right. So wait a minute. All right. So what is the Knucklehead's Trout's?
It's -2, which is what I was just saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll the d20, and we'll do the math in my
Okay.
head.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the first one's a 4.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is a 6.
Yeah. So far, no good. You've got Piccolo swimming around in the lake, looking all over, trying to find this little pile of shiny things that's down there, but he's not finding anything. And I think everyone's just probably hanging out on the banks of the lake, getting bored.
You know what I'm going to do?
What are you doing in the meantime?
I am going to pull out the lucky fishing rod and
Okay.
fish on
Yeah.
the shore.
Great. I'm trying to let me the hook of Fisher's Delight. Okay, so you have certainly an hour of while you're the first
Idle
hour
time,
of him
yeah.
looking. So go ahead and roll a d6.
Okay. A 2.
Nope. So no fish yet. But
Okay.
so for the second hour of Piccolo looking, go ahead and make your perception checks again. Although I think the enhanceability only lasted for the first hour. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no more advantage.
Okay. Oh, first one was a 3.
Well, so and you don't have advantage anymore. So that's another hour going by.
Okay.
Yep. So
And a
still
4 for the
still
for the
no
pole.
fish for the fisher
Okay.
pole, but you can go ahead and keep looking and
I think at this time, during this time, Wilfred would probably start talking with Velene about possible spells, spells she knows, and basically talking like, oh, do you have any spells that could be ritual cast and
yeah, hang on. Let me let's see which of I mean she does have. I think when you start asking about that, there you make an insight check.
okay. No. Skills, not actions. Dirty 20.
Yeah, there's oh, you know what? Shoot. I'm this little thing that I was doing. Like, off the top of my head, I don't remember which ones are rituals or not.
Well,
So
yeah.
hang on. I have to look. But with your insight check, what you get a flash of when you're when you're asking is that there is a moment where she is very consciously choosing to not be offended by you asking about her spell book because you don't know anything and it's fine.
All right.
Yeah, so
So
you
it-
get the impression that you can choose whether or not to be offended, but her reaction is essentially like if she took you more seriously as a wizard, she would be pissed that you would even ask.
Yeah.
But
all right.
she
Noticing
doesn't-
that, Wilfred's going to change tack to talking with her about his journey in getting magic. And,
Yeah, so I think she does actually open up a little bit more in that line of thinking, in the sense that she says, "Well, actually, I overheard some of what you were talking about with your sister. I come from a noble family myself, and I am somewhat embarrassed to admit that I had to rely on some of those connections to be admitted to the Arcane Brotherhood. I am quite skilled in my magical abilities, but it is a cutthroat business getting admitted, as you might well understand. And as long as you have the drive, great things can be accomplished. You must use the tools at your disposal."
yeah. Well, when I first tried to learn magic, my father wasn't satisfied with my progress. I wasn't going fast enough so my my arcane tutor was dismissed and replaced with a martial one.
Yes, well,
So I continue my studies independently. But
good. Good for you.
anyway,
As you're continuing to have Piccolo look around, um, go ahead and make one more perception check for Piccolo.
Okay, and that was an 8.
Yeah, wow, you're just rolling bad over and over, right?
Yeah.
Okay. At that point,
We're making up for all the amazing rolls that we had last week.
Yeah.
yeah.
We knew
Okay.
that was going to happen.
Yeah. So at that point, I think Piccolo is taken by surprise when there's a dark shape that sort of swims into view, and takes a chomp at Piccolo with advantage because he didn't see it. So that's a dirty 20 to hit. Current armor class is a 12.
Yep.
So hang on, that damage is the Piccolo poofs into a little cloud of fairy dust as he as something big tries to chomp him, and he is immediately destroyed.
Yeah. So I
But-
think at that point, Iggy Iggy kind of falls back into snow.
Yeah. I think what you got, make a perception check with your Iggy's perception.
Not that it's much better. Well, actually, it is. It's a dirty 20.
Yeah. So what you caught a glimpse of just before Piccolo was swallowed and then poofed was something that had a mouth almost maybe a little bit like some sort of a giant reptile, but the thing also had strange flippers, and the thing was easily the size of like a grizzly bear.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, there's something down there that's large and reptilian with some kind of flippers, and it's huge. Not
And-
like huge, but it's big. And
That must be the thing the people in Bremen were talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're going to have success with this mission today.
wow.
Velene
Yeah.
just kind of stretches and says, "Oh well, I guess we'll try some other time."
Yep.
It's not like this has got a time limit on it.
True.
Yeah.
And now we know.
So
Yep.
I think as you're sort of getting ready to sort of finish up, like Velene does kind of just go back over to Wilfred and just say, "I do understand a bit better why you would be looking for the ring. I'm not entirely unsympathetic. It just does seem like, if you'll forgive me for saying so, the stakes are small compared to some of the rest of what we're doing."
it was worth a try for a little.
Hey,
Here we are. We tried. Yes.
Yep.
and we know where it is, and perhaps, hey, going to find some, Lost Tower Netheril, or a Netheri's tower.
Mm-hmm.
They might have a spell scroll
Mm-hmm.
for water breathing.
You
So-
never know.
So,
Yep. So she, I think, does at one point tell you, I do have detect magic.
So do I.
Well,
but that's a limited range.
no, I was offering you asked about ritual spells. I had that one. I was offering, but you have it already, so never mind. And
Oh. Oh, I didn't realize exactly what she was.
no, I know. That's why she was explaining, but she's She
So-
seems a little put off now that like, oh no, oh you have that one. Okay, never mind then.
So do we have enough time to to get to East Haven in time before we need to sleep, or do we need to sleep in Bryn Shander?
Well, let's see. You would let's see. You probably had like 2 or 3 hours to get where you were, but then you were just like hanging out on the side of this lake for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Which
so
I
basically-
wouldn't really count as like well, you're still out in the elements.
Yeah.
I think it would be a long day to get to East Haven, but you could, it wouldn't, it would be maybe like, so let's say, it would have been 2 hours to get where you are. You sat on the side of the lake for 3 hours, so that would be 5 hours. It would be, another 2 hours to get to Bryn Shander, and then from there it would be another 4 hours. So
I think spending the night in Bryn Shander is the best choice.
okay, so you're heading back there. The place seems like it's getting a little bit better under control in the sense that you see a lot more like temporary buildings have been kind of established, and there's like some tents and so on that have been set up, and they're doing their best to house all the refugees and that sort of thing. But it's still obviously very much a work in progress. But as you are preparing to get a long rest there in Bryn Shander, perhaps that's where we can call it a close for tonight.
Yep.
Unless you really want to just hurry
It
all
works
the way
for
and
me.
the alternative would be to say let's hand wave the travel a little bit and have you show up and see this lost spire, but whatever you like.
Are we going to the Lost Spire, or are we going to visit the Goliaths, though?
Well, so yeah.
I think the Spire is the first thing on our list.
Okay, then in that case, before we go to sleep at night, how about that night, this is going to be the last thing that we do, we send a sending to your the Marcher's relatives to ask them for help for Bryn Shander and 10 Towns.
Who is able to do that? Because
we don't.
Iggy hasn't met.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right. So what I was thinking was that we go to the Spire, and since from there Sky Tower is not terribly far, we would stop off there, and then maybe ask about using griffins to get to the island rather than Angajuk spell, because that I'm thinking there's nothing about that legend that says you can get back.
The one other thing that I would say is that related to that is that that the griffins, once you get there, are not going to want to just hang out. So you would need to either have confident control over your command of them, or have some other precaution to keep them from just flying away when you are not immediately present.
I was thinking that we would hopefully have some guidance from other Goliaths in that regard.
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean, I think you grew up with all of that. I think
Yeah.
But what you would know is you would either need to be confident enough that you could say, "Stay," and have them believe you, which would be a roll essentially, right?
Right. Or have
some other thing that would keep them from flying away, which would probably require, like, if you didn't want to just literally like tie them down, you might need to have some sort of a shelter for them.
Right.
Because they don't like being out in the cold.
Yeah. Well, several ritually cast tiny huts would probably do the job.
Well, so the point is just that that if you're going to be there for a little while, griffins would potentially be also a challenge in that regard.
Yeah, but I think more reliable than than the
Yeah.
12. So, but anyways, that was basically gonna be the excuse to give to
Yeah.
our dog sled person to get
Oh,
them
sure.
to go to.
Well,
Skyfall.
it is absolutely reasonable to explore all available options.
Yes. So we're gonna head. Can we make it to the Lost Spire in a day, or do we need to?
Well, so you can get to East Haven in 5 hours.
Okay,
Like
so
4 and a
probably
little
not.
bit. And then, yeah, so then it would probably be a couple of, like, even with the dog sleds, probably. Um,
What if we went by Kerkonig and then just went laterally?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so that would be. So let's see. 3 hours.
20 miles. That's 7 hours to Kerkonig,
6 hours.
yeah, stay the night there.
and then go.
So it would be 6 hours from Caer Konig overland with the dog sleds, and so if you got to, it would be about 7 hours to get to Caer Konig by road from where you are, but then it would be only 6 hours overland to get to where you believe the Lost Spire is.
So let's take a day to get to Kerkonig. Was it Kerkonig or Caer Dineval that had an intact castle?
That was Caer Dineval.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
and
well-
before we leave Bryn Shander.
Well, you also don't know what is left of it now.
Oh, that's
Right.
true. But I was just going to see what was left of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and before we leave Bryn Shander, Iggy wants to get as supplies to summon Piccolo back.
Yeah. I mean, okay, this is what happens when we're kind of skidding along. Like,
Yeah.
Velene, as promised, gave you the materials you could do that with. So.
Okay. Yeah, but wants another set just in case something like this happens
Sure.
again.
Yeah, okay, that's good. You could also, like, pay her back for the 2 uses worth she already gave you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have that much cash.
All right. This is getting a little scattered. Let's go ahead and
Yeah.
close the session for tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the plan is to go to Lost Spire of Netheril next week when we
Yep.
return for more adventure on so many levels.
Yay!
Hey.